Tell you something right now, Brennan. You're a pro athlete now.
Well,
What
no,
mattered
I'm
to you?
not. No, I'm not.
You
You
used to be
keep
a pro
saying
athlete.
that.
Don't interrupt me.
You keep saying
You
that.
used to be a pro athlete.
That's like
Now,
me saying you used to be a high school wrestler.
I understand. Well, still am a wrestler. Now listen,
Once
in
a
my
wrestler,
heart,
always a wrestler.
In my heart, I'm a wrestler. But the thing is, Brennan, when you were an athlete, you needed to worry about performance. And that's where On It would come in. See, for me, and for most of the people listening, let's be honest, we just want to look good naked. Ain't that the truth?
Preach.
I mean, all this talk about optimization and health, do we really care? You give me a body like Ronaldo, I could be riddled with disease. I'm talking about sores that won't heal. I'll take it. What I really care about is looking good in a pair of shorts.
As the kids say,
or naked.
doing it for the gram.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing.
And
it
that's
for.
where, and that's really where all these.
It's the only reason I work out.
Look, man,
those shop workout videos, it's for the gram.
Exactly. There are two reasons we work out. I want to look better when I'm having sex, and I want to live longer than the next guy. And that's where all those awesome supplements come in. That's where the recovery protein comes in. I got to keep my machine.
What about the krill oil? You got to keep the skin
and
oiled up.
especially the krill oil. Been too much research about what krill oil and especially like fish oils like that do for your body, your hair, your skin. So bottom line is, I take On It because I want to look good in bed and I want to live forever. And On It products have proven
You'll
to
live forever.
elongate your
No,
dong.
you'll live forever.
Forever.
You'll
They
live
have been
forever.
proven that you will live on forever.
If you've seen that movie Death Becomes Her, that's what it is.
That's right.
That's On It in that little bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Super old school reference.
Oh, so-
However, 10% off.
By the way, that's
onit.com/fighter.
super old school
onit.com/fighter.
Yeehaw!
10% off. Live forever.
Forever,
Do
Monday.
it for the gram, bitches.
You see what I'm wearing right now, right? Do I look like I split wood, or do I look like I look like a stylish, good-looking lumberjack? True or false?
True. You
Yeah.
are 5'4" out.
I'm pretty 5'4" out. Noticed you were on the plane yesterday as well.
And I
the
wore it
products.
at all our live shows in Palm Beach.
Yes,
Well,
you
shout out
did.
to Palm Beach. Love you guys.
As did I.
Shout out to Atlanta, ATL.
Oh, we had a good
Threw
time.
it down hard.
Threw it down hard.
And you know what? I don't think it's because of our skills on the mic. I think it's because of our fashion.
Well, we were able to
The
move.
whole crowd was going 5, 4.
Yep.
5,
We were able to move with
4,
freedom.
5,
My
4,
clothing's not
5, 4.
restrictive. It's not restrictive. It's cut well. It hangs on my
why
body
we
well.
leave.
It's like stepping into a warm bath every time I throw on a 5'4" shirt or pair of pants.
Now we what is it? We mid-November.
We're mid-November.
And I warned you guys.
warned
That
me.
McNary package,
You warned
that
me.
special McNary package, it ends this month.
Oh yeah.
So you have about, what, 2 weeks left?
So don't
2 weeks
walk.
and change?
Don't walk. Run. Run to your keyboard.
Run to your
That's all it takes,
computer.
right? I mean, we're talking about the internet. You don't have to go to a store.
54club.com, promo code FIGHTER for this month only.
How much?
You get
How much?
50% off
What?
November's collab package with the brilliant McNary. And then
How do they make
also,
money? I don't know how they make money.
If you're part of the 54 Club package, if you're part of the 54 Club deal, you can go on their account and you're like, damn, I like that, but I didn't get it in the mail. Cool, you get 50% off that as well. You're part of the club. A really, really exclusive club. By exclusive, I mean anyone can sign up for it. But still,
Anybody can
still,
sign up.
It's like Costco.
But you got to sign up.
It's like Costco.
You got to take the quiz.
Yo, no, you got to go through some steps.
Oh yeah, take the
Oh,
quiz.
you want to be part of the club? You got to go through some steps. Super exclusive.
There we go.
Kind of. 54club.com, promo code FIGHTER, 50% off your first month subscription.
You're welcome. Hey Brennan, it's Monday, and I'll tell you something
Monday,
right now.
you silly yellow teeth. Fuck. That was
Hey, that's
so
aggressive, man.
Well, we just had a meeting, and
We did.
I know you got to talk with me, not take it out on the podcast. I
know.
won't get
You
into
calm
it.
down. You calm down right now. Brennan gets
fired up, though.
Brennan gets a little kernel. You plant a
Business.
seed, and that
No, it's
seed
not
will
a
grow a
seed. No,
vine.
it's
turn
not
into a
seed.
flower of hate.
No, there's no seed.
Nah, it's already a full
Someone
flower.
just showed us a sign.
You're full bloom.
There's no seed.
Nah.
Someone just showed us a sign like,
You insult Brennan, and I'll tell you what, he'll
well, no,
take it
if
personally.
you insult Bryan and Brendan in the show.
Yeah, you take that personally. Let's move on, though, for a second. I want to talk about the election right now.
Oh,
You're
I'm glad
probably,
you brought that
probably
up.
dying for my
I am.
perspective. Huh? What?
Stop it.
Okay, let's change the subject.
Save that shit. UFC 205, son.
Damn, baby. How about me, by the way? I was
man.
at the...
No, hold on. Let's get
Yeah.
into it. Don't jump right in. Don't try saving yourself on this.
First of all, you like West Palm Beach.
We're in Atlanta, right? Shout out to Atlanta Buckhead too. That was amazing. Then West Palm Beach, which man, it is
West Palm
it
Beach
is
is
Pleasantville
fantastic.
out there.
Yep.
It is so nice.
Best
Great
looking
weather.
women we've ever had. We actually had a lot of women in the audience, which we never do.
Most women in the audience for sure, which
Yeah.
usually it's just all dudes and it's whatever. And so we did our live shows, but on Saturday it just happened. They schedule months out, guys. So they scheduled it and just happened to land on UFC 205, which is the biggest UFC of all time. Well, obviously our fan base, a lot of them are UFC fans. 18 to 36 males are our biggest demographic. So Friday show, great, tons of ticket sales, almost sold out. Saturday, before we announced we're going to watch UFC, not great. People were like, dude, I want to see it, but we got UFC 205 too. Like, you screwed us.
Exactly.
So then the club was like, how about you guys basically do a live fight campaign? You do your live show for 2 hours of comedy, 2 hours of hard comedy. We also call it the ab workout. It's 2 hour ab workout.
Oh, yeah. Your side's going to be splitting.
And
Bring
your
tape.
face is going to be sore.
Yeah.
Your face is going to be sore. Your dick's going to be full.
Yeah. I
don't know where that went.
But either way, I know what you
Anyways.
mean. Full of laughter.
Yeah, full of laughter.
Like if your dick could
and
laugh, it'd
joy.
be going.
Full of joy, unless it has a runny nose.
There you go.
Anyways, that's not. We'll get into it later.
Oh, man, antibiotics. Keep going.
Yeah, anyways. So when they decide to do a live fight campaign as well, T says we're booming. Bitch sold out. So we did our VIPs, like we took pictures with the fans and watched the prelims on Fox, which were great fights. Frankie Eggers, Stevens, all that stuff. We saw that. And then we had 2 mics during the actual main card, and we sat with the crowd. And I'll tell you what, man, I've been offered to go watch fights at bars and clubs and do that stuff, which I would never do because I don't know those people. They don't know me. I just get terrible questions and drunks and blah, blah, blah. But the reason we decided to do this because the Fire and the Kid fan base is completely different. Because I know them, they know me.
They do.
They know
what you like. Yeah.
But they know they're educated. So they're not knowing got out of hand. They were great, knowledgeable questions. Yep. So it was dope.
Yep.
However, East Coast time, Conor McGregor walked out 1 a.m. I was a little sleepy. Callan got a surge of energy.
Because I was drinking very good red wine, which may as well be, when you put really good red wine in me, it
might as well be Red Bull.
May as well be cocaine. May as well be cocaine.
Cocaine.
Okay. May as well be pure cocaine.
Might as well be that Pablo Escobar in your system.
Dude, I was running around the tables like a politician. I was like,
it was weird.
Unsolicited. I was like, I'm gonna go down there and say hi to those people.
People were scared.
I was
like, oh!
I was grabbing dudes by the shoulders.
They're like, okay,
shaking
Bryan.
hands. I was taking pictures.
But then you were getting the mic. It's the least funniest I've ever heard you.
I was
like Conor.
By the end of the night,
they wanted to watch the main event, so I'm very aware. Like when it's live like that, it's not the same in fight campaign. You can't talk over during the fights.
No.
People there to watch the event.
Intense viewing.
Like it's the biggest UFC of all time. We all want to watch it. Bryan would get on the mic and do like a Conor McGregor impression.
I go like this. I go, when Conor beat Eddie, I was like, another day at the office. Just another day at the office.
You did that early.
When he was walking in.
Literally.
Tension.
One guy turned around and was like, serious, bro? and I told Bryan, like, let's kind of just lay off the mic.
Didn't stop me, though. Had a bunch of other comments.
Yeah, it was tough late night for you.
Woo! I'm from Ireland. I was doing that.
And know what? I'm telling you, and I had to tell Bryan, I'm like, read the crowd, man.
Bomb sweat.
Bomb.
I mean,
bombardier.
I haven't bombed that way since my first time doing stand-up
comedy. I was like, hey,
comedy.
B, let's kind of just maybe give me that mic.
I'm a professional.
I took the mics.
I'm a professional.
I took the mics. I was like, you know what? Let's just maybe save it afterwards, huh?
We were done 2 a.m. I'm still going strong, taking pictures. People were running out of there. They couldn't get away from me fast enough. I was like, guys, what, more me? It's been 7 hours of me.
2 a.m. flight, or 2 a.m. when we got back to the hotel. But we had to 7 a.m. flight, so we had to leave at 5:30. We got
felt
about
good.
2 hours of sleep.
It felt so good because, of course, that's 2:30 a.m. for us. That felt good. And how about sitting on that plane? Oh, those seats are comfy.
I sat next to the
Coach,
Dallas Cowboys offensive lineman.
You sure did. That guy,
enormous.
He couldn't have been bigger.
And I go,
what
hey,
were you ordering?
Everything on the menu, but you know the little armrest. Usually put it because it's guy code. You put that down.
Sure.
Otherwise, my legs didn't touch yours. I'm gonna be all up on you. If you're a girl, I'll leave it up.
He was spilling.
I'm
into
like,
your
sir,
seat.
you mind if I put this down? He goes, man, I hate those things. You know, I'm like,
yeah.
All right. And then I was like, I'm just gonna put it down. He was thicker than a Snickers. He was oozing over.
Literally,
I couldn't even get this thing.
Not
over.
to be mean, but he was truly oozing into your section.
Yes.
And you just
I
looked
sat
at me.
next to Jabba the Hutt.
You were hanging into the aisle.
Couldn't fall asleep.
Hey, we've got to fly first class. I don't care if it costs $15,000 from now on. It was so exhausting.
We had good seats, the business class, but yeah, it was tough. That far is tough, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
Let's talk about UFC.
How about the guy next to me who
205?
had 8 drinks? He had 8 drinks.
But he was a functioning alcoholic.
Very much so. But he started talking loud to me, and he said, "You an actor or something?" Because he saw my script I was studying. I said, "Yeah." And he was talking about that loud. I'm not kidding. A big, handsome guy, blonde guy, but he had 8.
I would call him
8
handsome.
for his age. He had 8 Bacardis and Cokes.
I thought you could only
counted
have
them.
2 on the plane because they can't have you getting drunk.
The stewardess and the woman who's sitting on the other side looked at me. We both looked at each other and made that oh my God face.
There's not a drink maximum. I thought it was 2 because you can't be getting plastered.
He kept ordering. He kept saying, "I'll take 2 more. I'll go with a double round again." Finally, he got up and I fell asleep and I woke up because he fell on top of me.
How annoying is it when people are drinking like that on the plane? Like,
well, he fell on top of me. Sorry about that. Sorry. And then he said, "What's your character?" I said, "I play kind of a nefarious character for Kingdom."
Yeah.
He said, "Let me look at you. Yeah, I can see that. I can see you being nefarious." It was very interesting.
There's
Very
nothing
interesting
worse.
guy. Yeah, he'd been there on a job. He worked on boats.
I thought for sure there was a drink maximum
I couldn't believe how much he drank.
because you can't. They can't. Well, I don't know how that works.
Time to hit the old Google machine and
Yeah,
find out
I
an
thought
answer to this
for
one.
sure it was 2 drinks maximum. Maybe he was just.
The stewardess looked down at me and she just shook her head.
I guess
She
it is a
gave him-
grown man.
Yeah.
Well, bars don't. If you're hammered, they can't legally serve you drinks, right?
It's up to their discretion.
Yes, it's
they can
their-
cut you off whenever they want. That's their right.
He wasn't being unruly. He was just speaking loud, but he was actually watching Captain America on his iPad.
Grown man.
Grown man watching Captain America on his iPad. So he was keeping to himself, but he was spilling. He was spilling the soda. He was trying to grab. I had to grab for his soda. I mean, it was crazy. Got off and had a little sway to his step, but 8 drinks later was fine.
When you pointed him out, he
could see.
Yeah, he walked like Forrest Gump as a kid a little bit.
We couldn't believe it. And finally said, "Thank you" to the stewardess, the final drinks, the final 2 rounds of 8. And
Functioning
she gave him, I've
alcohol.
never seen this. She gave him a thumbs up and just shook her head and walked away.
Basically, like,
Yeah.
beat it, nerd.
Yeah.
I was so happy to get back to LA, man. I was so happy to get back to LA.
It's
I
our
was
home.
so tired.
It's our home.
I went home and I napped hard for an hour. Then went to the gym.
I had a 2-hour nap, deep REM sleep.
Deep Remy.
But when I get home,
deep
my
Remy.
kids aren't hearing a peep out of it. My kids want to play now. They want to play tag. They want to play wrestle. They want to play all kinds of games.
I was lucky. Little Brown was my girl put him to sleep. So she was like, "Just don't wake him up." So right when I got home,
I'll go
little
to
dude
sleep.
was snoozing.
Yeah.
So as soon as he woke up, I was up. But man,
I gotta come home. I gotta play with my kids. I gotta make hard, vigorous love to my wife.
Yeah, that's a must.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I call it laying the law down.
I lay the law
The
down.
town law down.
Yeah, I lay the law down, and then I took a nappy poo.
Yeah, the flights that do it to you, man. And then last night, dude, I watched. Someone was telling me who was it? Maybe I read about it in one of the magazines, or I saw it online. But I watched this documentary. I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, damn, for sure I'm gonna get emotional if I watch this. So then last night I was like, I'll find it. It's on Apple TV, iTunes, Amazon, and then it's also on it's on Amazon, but you can get it on iTunes. It's called Gleason. It's a documentary called
Jackie Gleason?
No.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, let me finish my
Sorry,
story
buddy.
before you interrupt
Sorry,
with
buddy.
Jackie. I'm not watching that documentary.
I bet I know what it is.
What is it?
About the boxer. Okay,
You
sorry.
want to let me get through this?
Sorry, buddy. Sorry.
Good God,
Sorry,
man.
man. Sorry.
But this Gleason guy was a NFL player. He played college football at Washington State, and then he went to the New Orleans Saints. He's the guy who blocked. Remember after Hurricane Katrina, he's the guy who blocked the punt.
Mm-hmm.
They call it like the turnaround. Like he was the guy that changed that. Do you remember that game?
No.
Sport. So remember Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans was terrible.
Yes.
And then the Superdome was like basically like where everyone went to get saved, and
Yes.
it was like a complete third world
Disaster.
country in
Yeah.
the Superdome. And then they fixed it up. This was the first game back. I think it was against Atlanta. The first game. So it was like the rebirth
Sure.
of the city. So the Falcons go 3-and-out, and they're gonna punt it, and this guy blocks the punt. They score a touchdown. It was just like it was just like the rebirth of the city. Like the
Right.
whole stadium was going nuts.
That's pretty
So he has a
glorious.
statue. I get chills talking about it. He has a statue outside of him blocking the field goal. He was the captain of the special teams. He was a stud. So he's a super stud captain of New Orleans Saints, and he's a guy who always documented stuff, always. And it shows him, and he goes, "Hey, I'm starting to get like some weird." So he retires, I think, in 2008, and he goes, "I'm starting to get some like weird twitches in my arm. Like they think it's from playing football with my neck. You know, we don't really know, but I'm going to the doctor now." And he's like, "We'll see what happens. All those years of football could be rough on the neck." Blah blah blah. Comes out, shows him and his wife crying. He's like, Well, it's worst case scenario. It's a terminally ill disease.
A tumor on his spine or something?
Nope. Let me get through it. He has Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh, ALS.
So then 6 weeks after that diagnosis, his wife gets pregnant. His wife gets pregnant, and he's so happy. And then he starts filming because he's like, well, they say I have 3 to 5 years to live. My son will only understand me by the time he's 4, and by the time he's 4, I will lose my voice in 2 years. So by the time he's 4, he will never hear his dad's voice. So he starts documenting important things because he goes, and it's hard not to get emotional. He goes, to me, I'm going to pass away, but the biggest thing I can do is take the best of me and give it to my son. So he starts documenting the most important things, and he's like, hey, buddy, it's your dad. And he's talking to the camera while his wife's pregnant behind him. And then you can slowly see, like, the disease start to take over. So he goes from this, a beast, man.
Yeah.
He was a captain of the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
He's this monster, and he goes from this beast. He's like, I'm going to do the best I can to fight this, but there's really... So he started this huge Lou Gehrig's kind of... Foundation, never give up, no white flag. And so the whole NFL's in on it. But then his son's born, and then, it's amazing, man. So he's going through that. But then I think it goes a span of 5 to 6 years. Dude, him and his wife are 2 peas in a pod. Like, they have this relationship where they're very open. They love each other. They have this son that they connect on. They're 2 wild spirits. No one thought they'd get married, but they're besties, man. They're like yin and yang. And they're doing all this stuff together. Then he gets this, and this lady deserves a fucking award. She sticks by his side. She's like, we'll beat this, blah, blah, blah. One of a guy who was one of, like, his super fans, and, like, he was like, he's my hero, decides to help him out too, because... So the way Lou Gehrig's disease works is you lose all function of your body.
Your muscle,
everything
right?
Except your mind. Everything except your mind. So you name it. You can't talk. Your lungs eventually give out, so you have to have a trachea.
You drown.
You can't do anything. So it shows this whole step, and then with the son, but they're playing the clips of him what he thinks is important. And there's a scene in the documentary where his dad's very religious. His dad was kind of a shitty dad. Like he was very hard on him. And so he interviews his dad, because that's what he started doing. He started interviewing and stuff like that. And he's interviewing his dad, and his dad's like, you need God in your life, and God's going to fix this. And he's just like, Dad, like, if God's so powerful, why am I, I have a son. Why am I fucking getting disciplined?
Or he chose you to have this to set an example, and, whatever.
That's one way to look at it.
I'm just saying.
I highly doubt God has anything to do with it. But he... So he goes to this church to please his dad, and the guy's like, I want everyone to stand up, put your hand on your heart, and repeat this after me, and feel the Spirit touch you, and just to prove a point, you can ski. Don't forget, he's a beast. He used to be a monster. So he still has that mentality, but his body's not there anymore. Right. And so he's just starting his gait's different. His body's, like, he can barely move his arms and stuff like that. And so he walks to the front, and he goes, I'm going to run like I used to in the NFL. You think this is going to work? I'm going to run. And, dude, he gets down like he's on that kickoff and goes to run and falls flat first. And he goes, I'm going to try again. I don't feel it, man. I'm going to try again. And the whole crowd's like, what the fuck?
Dude, I got to see
His
this.
wife is so pissed. She's like yelling at the dad, like, let's get what are we doing? It's embarrassing. But I think he was just trying to prove a point. So, it like I said, it goes for about 5-6 years. And then on, like, the 5th year, man, so he can't walk. He's in one of those remote control fucking wheelchairs. He had a trachea. His body's, just everything's like down, man. And then he did great stuff for the foundation. He's still alive. He's doing great stuff for the foundation. But his wife was raising their kid. The baby was 2 or 3, throughout the show. Yeah. But finally, the documentary, baby's 2 or 3. But she's also taking care of him. And you see her going from a loving, happy person, creative, to just,
full-time nurse.
Oh, you should see her. But those two used to talk about everything, tell each other everything, but it put such a strain on the relationship. Like, it shows him sleeping in his bed because he can't sleep together. Shows her sleeping in this other bed.
Terrible.
And he's just like, man, like...
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, and the reason why they say the average lifespan for that disease is 3 to 5 years, because by the 5th year, when you lose all this function, so your lungs...
You don't want to live anymore?
You get sick. You can't shit on your own, nothing. So you basically, like, just this brain inside this useless body. And yeah, man. So you're doing everything, but he even says like, this is horrible for you. Like, I think it would be better if I should just go. Like, most people just don't want to deal with it. It's so hard. It's so brutal. Even he was like,
my father's friend.
Even he was like, this is the most brutal thing of all time. He's like, it's not fair to you guys. And so they show a conversation with the doctor, basically like, do you want to live or not? And he's like, I just got too many people counting on me, man. Like the only reason I don't do it is my son, and I have this foundation now, so I'm gonna keep going. So he has the surgery. But dude, you want to talk about being grateful and fucking? I'm telling you, man, there wasn't. I could not. I mean, it's a tough documentary.
It's funny how you start. Like I started crying on the way here, in something so much smaller than that, but not. It's everybody it's all perspective. But this woman who had been in institutions, she was being molested as a kid at 8 years old. This is heavy. We're gonna change this. But she went into.
Is this a TED Talk? Where did you hear this?
No, this is on NPR,
okay.
National Public Radio, and she went into juvenile. She went into a special area. Then she was so traumatized that she attacked this kid. Then she goes into the juvenile system. Terrible lawyers. She was from 8 years old to 15. She was raised by institutions, and there was this one lawyer who just saw her and listened to her and got her out and got her into a job, and now she's doing way better. But like, I was listening to this thing, and it seems like like when I describe it, it doesn't seem like anything. But the girl was talking about how transition. No, she wasn't a victim. She was kind of saying, it's hard, but things are better, and they're looking up. And her optimism, and her ability to kind of withstand all that. I just started fucking. I was like a mess. I was like, this is embarrassing for the cars near me. I was crying.
You're
because
sobbing?
it sounded. What makes me cry is the glory. But it's glorious when people can deal with suffering and turn it into something positive.
Well,
when you go from 8 to 15 in institutions, in juvenile hall with violent, mentally disturbed kids, and you come out of it, that shit makes me. It's inspiring to me. It makes me feel like any problems I have are very fucking trivial. Yeah. Very trivial. Perspective.
That Gleason one's a little different though. A little different. You're not going to walk away from that being like, man,
well, you are.
It's so heavy. But you got to watch it be.
I know that. What I'm saying is that he's facing worst case scenario. Might
be the worst disease in the world.
It is. But at the same time, the guy figured out a way to not only set an example, kind of a heroic example, but in a small way, maybe a big way, maybe in a tiny way, but in a way, he is moving the effort to combat that disease forward.
Well,
that's all he could
started
do,
the
right?
Ice Bucket Challenge.
Yeah.
That whole ALS Ice Bucket Challenge really came from him. He's one of the first stars of it, and they raised all that money.
Man, those kinds of things are the worst.
Dude.
My friend's a doctor who deals with that. My buddy Russ.
Ooh.
And it's not
much
fun.
to do. There's not much you can do. There's literally nothing they can do.
No.
There's nothing. Some of the stem cell stuff will kind of stop in its tracks after a certain while, but very few of them take to it.
Yeah. There's still limits to science. Now that we've lost everybody.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Now that everybody's crying in the car.
Yeah.
That's a brutal first 23 minutes of a podcast.
It's real.
Hey, man, we get real.
Sounds super interesting.
We get
I'm
real.
definitely going to watch it.
The Gleason, it's heavy, but it's just, especially from, I think the reason I connect so much because he was this athlete and he had a kid, and then, as a parent, the worst thing you can do is, not be there for your kid and not pass down the best of you to your son. And he's documented on a video, like when you go on dates, when you're playing football.
See, this is what I want to do for my son. This is what the kind of stuff I want to videotape just in case, you die tomorrow.
What?
Why is that weird to you?
Well, you're going to be around.
I don't know if I'm going to be around.
Oh, so you're going to start. Well, how old is he? 6?
He's 5.
Probably should start like 5 years ago.
Well, but that's what I mean. It's like,
you're going to start breaking down videos?
I've thought about this since he was born and my daughter was born.
Your daughter's 7?
Videoing essentially, the lessons in life that I wish I knew. Little things. What to spend your time on. What's important. That's a lot of material to get through.
Yeah, how awesome is that?
It is, and I love
how awesome is that?
I love that this is a daily diary in a way.
100%. There's no better way. Well, what was Dad doing on? You know what I'm saying?
I got this idea.
He's the fighter and the kid is your documentary for your dad.
Well, there's a movie.
My son's gonna hate me.
Michael Keaton was in a movie called My Life, which he gets a brain tumor, and you can't watch it without crying. But he makes a video blog for his son about how to shave, how to pick
I'm
up
talking
all that stuff.
real life documentary. This guy does it,
I
not
know.
the movies.
Well, that's what I'm
We're
saying.
talking
The
real
movie gave me that
deal.
idea a long time ago, and yet I still haven't done it.
And
part of it's
you'd
because
have to
I
be
feel-
on it and it's like super.
Well-
You'd be like, "Hey son, Bryan Count here, 2016," and then 3 years. "Hey son, it's Bryan again. I took some time
Sorry,
off.
man,
I
I
forgot to do it.
sorry, bro,
I
I
have
was a
no
little
follow
busy.
through.
I'm not very good.
Where was I?
Yeah, where was I?
Here's the message.
yeah.
Consistency. son.
Consistency, guy. Be consistent.
Here's the message.
Don't do as I do. Just do as I say.
Don't be so unreliable.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Look,
I don't-
I've made a lot of mistakes.
One of them starting this video because
Yeah.
now you see what.
But
kind
you
of guy
did
I am.
listen to the podcast. Hey, listen, I didn't have time to make a video.
Just
listen to the podcast.
600 episodes of the podcast.
You're going to hear a lot of shit you shouldn't
You're
do.
going to get a good idea of who Bryan Count is. Just listen to the 600 episodes.
It's probably the reason I didn't do a video blog. Or maybe I just believe I'm going to live forever.
Yeah, no, you're fine, man. Just kind of maybe just be with your son and just tell him.
Just tell him.
Yeah, because you don't have
Verbally?
any last, so yeah.
Although I have a cough that won't go away.
You do have a throat problem. I wish you'd get it checked out.
Nope, not going to do it. I want to wait till it really gets too out of hand.
Well, even on the plane, someone's like, "See, all right." I'm like, "No, I guess it's just normal.
Yeah,
It's nothing you can do."
just clearing his throat.
This
all the
guy's
time.
super heavy though. Let's break down some UFC 205. Even though I'm gonna do it on Rogan for the next 3 hours.
Well, I have this to say. Maybe the most exciting UFC I've seen.
Oh,
in a
best
long
UFC
time.
card of all time, hands down.
I'd say.
because that
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
to
I'm
get
on
to
board with
New York, the buildup of New York, to actually deliver is so tough. For Donald Cerrone and Kelvin to pull out, for Rashad Evans, Tim Kennedy to pull out, and for it to no. I mean, people are like, "Damn, that sucks," but everyone was like, "Hey, I still can't wait," because they stacked the card so much.
Yeah.
Shows you what kind of card it is.
Yeah.
UFC 200, it was almost forced on us. Like, all right, we don't have any stars that can really fight right now. Call Brock Lesnar. It's like, I guess I'll watch him fight Mark Hunt,
Right.
All right, and then DC, John Jones fell out. I
Yeah.
guess I'll watch him fight an old Anderson Silva. Like, it was very forced. The yellow octagon, it's like, God damn it.
No gimmicks on this one.
There's
No.
no,
No
gimmicks at
gimmicks
all.
here.
All the fights were so good.
Unreal.
All
First
were
of all,
so good.
Starting with, it was interesting to see Khabib Nurmagomedov solidify what he was really about, and just impossible to stop once he blazes through your punches and takes you down. And then we'll see you later because you're going to be.
That's tough. You got to be careful of that because when you say blaze through the punches, so he got wobbled.
Yes,
and
he
when I
did.
see that, if Conor lands that, you're talking about a different night for Khabib.
You notice it was landing for Johnson too?
Yes.
Left straight, baby.
Left straight.
Left straight, right down the pipe.
And I love Mike Johnson, but his left straight's a far cry from Conor McGregor. So when I see that if that matchup would ever happen, we can get into that a little bit later, which it's not going to happen for a very, very long time for multiple reasons. But that gives you, for the Conor McGregor fans, that gives you hope that he could beat Khabib. Because one thing he does is get hit.
Yeah.
So, but when it goes to the ground, you're super screwed, obviously. That fight was amazing. Frank Edgar, Jeremy Stevens.
I mean, Frankie
you can't have
Edgar.
a Frank Edgar fight without him getting rocked.
Frankie Edgar.
You just can't have one without him getting fucked up.
Yeah, and still not going down. Frank Edgar never been knocked out, never been submitted in his UFC career. He's phenomenal. And I honestly, like, when I saw that matchup, I thought to myself, Frankie's been fighting a long time. Jeremy Stevens hits like a truck. Jeremy Stevens is bigger. And
He looked like he was 2 weight classes bigger than
Oh
Frankie.
my
He really
God!
does, which
and
he used
the
to be.
the one guy that doesn't matter with is Frankie Edgar. He just finds a way to get it done. And but to submit Jeremy Stevens, that was not something I would have counted on.
He didn't submit
He didn't
Jeremy
submit
Stevens.
him.
It went to decision.
God damn it.
Oh, I was thinking about Michael Johnson. Sorry.
Yeah, Michael Johnson got Kimura.
Yeah.
Wait,
Third
he didn't,
round.
it went to decision?
Sure did, sir.
Yeah.
I thought I'm losing my mind.
Stevens Edgar went to decision.
Are you sure?
Positive.
100%. Hey, look at me.
Me and Brendan both looked straight at each other.
I thought you were
Hey,
joking. Hey, you don't need to check. It's gonna make it.
No.
It's gonna hang out way
Really?
longer. Yeah. Khabib got Michael Johnson a horrible Camaro where I thought he was gonna chicken wing his arm off.
Yeah, that was horrifying.
Terrible.
That
was rough.
horrifying.
But yeah, back to Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar looked amazing.
sorry, that's
But
right,
besides
yeah.
the kick that wobbled him, he obviously won the fight. And then the main card, man, delivered in every freaking way possible. Every way
my
possible.
God.
If you're UFC brass, they couldn't have laid out any better. Misha
Want
Tate.
to start at the bottom? Yeah.
Misha Tate, Raquel Penton. I said this during the live campaign. I'm not taking anything away from Raquel Penton. She did great. She did her job. She got the biggest win of her career being a girl like Misha Tate. What did I say to you when Misha was walking out? I went, God, I just don't know if she's into it anymore. I don't know if she's fully in. And then we see her fight. I'm like, there's no way. That's not Misha Tate that we're used to seeing. That's not the Miesha Tate, man.
Yeah.
So I think Raquel Penton, she won. Hats off to her. That's not the same Miesha Tate, man. If Miesha Tate shows up, she usually wins that fight. And after seeing that, yeah, it's probably time. I'm not mad at her for walking away.
No.
What else are you gonna do?
She's
Stick
taking
around?
a lot
for
of.
what?
She's taking a lot of punishment too. A lot of head trauma.
Yeah, all of them do. That's what you
Yeah.
sign up for. But for her, she's one of the biggest. She's the second biggest face of UFC.
She's got a
females.
career after fighting.
She
That's what I
does.
think.
She does. Yeah, it depends what she wants to do. As far as an analyst, she's the best in the female, by far the best in the game. If Fox or ESPN does not sign her, that you're an idiot. If you guys are listening to this right now, whoever doesn't sign her to a huge deal, she's the best looking female fighter at 135 we've ever had by far, not even
Yeah.
close. B, she speaks so elegantly and she just knows fighting.
Yeah.
She knows fighting. Also, Miesha Tate's a girl that you want your daughter to grow up and be like. You can't say that for the rest of them.
Right.
Think about Miesha Tate's career. If you would have said, hey, man, you're still going to be world champ, we would have called you're full of shit.
Right.
She's lost fights. She comes back. She's always positive. She looks the part. She's not really a big shit talker, you know? Like, she's very classy, man.
Right.
So by her leaving is a huge hit to that female division. Huge hit. There's really no one else like her that looks like that, performs like that, speaks like that, and carries herself like that.
Right.
There's not another Miesha Tate
Beautiful.
out there. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
So hopefully Fox or ESPN, because their deal's almost up. So what's going to happen is you're going to see the UFC on multiple networks. It's just not going to be Fox. It's just not going to be ESPN. You're going to see it on multiple networks. Very similar to NFL, NBA, stuff like that. So Fox won't just have the rights. So it opens the door for other analysts in these other areas. So if I'm Miesha and if you're listening to this, I would not sign with Fox right now. Wait till the deal's done, and you're going to be able to play both. I'm not your manager, but I sure as fuck could be. Not that I have time for it. But don't sign with Fox right now. Wait for the contract to be up, figure out where the rights are, and have them battle against each other. Because you're going to have ESPN, Fox, CBS. You're going to have all these networks that are bigger than Fox that you're going to be able to sign with.
Right.
Don't get it twisted. ESPN trumps Fox.
Yep.
So if ESPN offers you a gig, and you might have to fly to Bristol, although they have a office here in LA as well, you should go with ESPN. But have them battle against each other. Just because you're retired, and I know it's murky water right now, don't jump in and sign with UFC tonight.
Right.
Do not do that.
Right.
Don't do that.
Do you guys want to make a bet that Frankie Edgar submitted Jeremy Stevens? Do you want to bet? Because
I'm pretty sure.
you're both wrong.
You looked it up?
Well, I didn't look it up. I just remember Frankie Edgar submitting Jeremy Stevens in a choke. So I just want to know if you guys wanted to bet on that. Since you guys seem to be so sure they went to decision, it didn't. Frank Edgar got him in a choke.
You know, Khabib got.
I know. And so did Frank Edgar. I was like, am I crazy?
Am
you
I
guys,
crazy?
You guys worried
I
me
feel
that
like we might be crazy.
You
Brian's
guys,
very
you guys
confident
worried
right
me that I was literally losing my mind. And if I'm wrong,
You're wrong. The judges scored it a pair of 30-27s and a 29-28 for a unanimous decision.
What fucking world are you
I thought
living
he
in,
had him
Brian?
in a choke.
Just
Did he
let
have
it go.
did he have
You're wrong.
He didn't have him in
Like,
a,
I don't know what
He
the
might
fuck
have-
I'm talking about.
I feel like there was a moment where one of them had the other in like a really
In a
tight guillotine,
guillotine.
but
Right.
no, but
Part of
they
the
got out
fight,
of
no
it.
one got submitted.
Yeah,
He didn't
no
get
one got
submitted.
finished. No.
And you were so sure.
almost sure.
That's why I don't bet you.
I was
God
almost
damn
positive.
it.
Maybe I'm senile.
You are. You're,
Hey,
well,
you know
I don't
what?
want to see
Evan
that
and I are
part, but-
both wrong, and we watched it. The rest of the fans listening right now are wrong, and that
It's so
article
crazy, man.
You got
Oh,
this.
it's so out of my mind. All right, sorry guys. Sorry.
My thing is, if you're not sure, but you stick by it, even when we move on.
He was on top of him, I guess, at the end, right? And they pulled him off.
Yeah, decision though, brother.
Right there. Decision. Unanimous.
God damn it.
Unanimous decision.
You even come back. You
Sorry,
go,
guys.
You want to bet? And I'm like, God damn it,
Almost
I don't want to.
positive.
I was
A,
like,
guess-
he had to have just looked it up,
A,
right?
he's not going to pay me. B,
I
God,
guess-
people
I
are
guess
going to make fun of me
I
for
guess
betting.
I guess he got caught. I guess he almost got caught in a guillotine. That's what I remember. And
Games, but still decisions.
Very different.
Not even close. Not even close.
God, I'm fucking going to see now. It's almost positive.
That's
Sorry,
a
bud.
bummer. Anyways,
where
Bummer.
were we?
I'm losing my brain.
nah, you're just confused.
I don't know. I've been forgetting names and stuff a lot lately. I'm
Names
worried.
aren't a big deal. It depends who it
I've
is.
been
If
I've
it's
been
important
forgetting a lot of
names. If
stuff.
it's important names.
Yeah. Jesus.
Oh man.
Seriously. Maybe I'm just tired.
It just throws us off here when
Sorry,
you keep
guys,
going
sorry.
back to it. What,
We were-
go the next fight.
I couldn't
So
go
we got
on.
Miesha, Raquel Penton.
We got that
shout,
covered.
Shout
Miesha
out to
retired.
Raquel. Miesha retired. Wish her the best. You have tons of opportunity. Don't sign with the first people who jump on board. You're the face of women's MMA, especially as far as an analyst. Don't sign with Fox right away because it's going to be a fucking wild west of networks that are going to come after you. What else you got?
So the next one after Tate Pennington was Weidman Romero.
Dude, and Bryan and I bet merchandise on this fight. Obviously, I'm not going to pay you like you never pay me. But listen, no, I'm just kidding. I will. I'm a man of my word.
No.
We're not releasing shirts for the next to 2017, so that's weird. No. This one was heartbreaking for me because Chris A didn't get any of the notoriety they should have fighting in New York in his hometown, especially being a former champ. For whatever reason, they just don't market him. And then you're fighting a monster in Yoel Romero. I told you he was going to take him down, B.
Yeah.
His MMA wrestling is just different.
I wonder though if if this makes sense
Please
to you.
don't discredit
He was
Chris Weidman.
he was taking. Yoel was giving him that single leg. He was taking the single leg, and then I think Chris got comfortable with the single leg. It was the third round, and when he went to go for the
Baiting
single
him
leg,
in?
he knew he was going to go in and gave him the knee. And I think he's done that before to somebody. I can't remember who it was.
He's done it a bunch of times. He
He-
tried to do
yeah,
it like
that's his
on like
thing.
4 or 5 separate
Yeah, he
occasions.
So in a
does.
way,
That's
do you
his
think
big
that
thing.
was strategic? Do you think that he?
I think it was great timing. I
Right.
mean, granted.
But I'm saying, do you think that he was?
No,
setting
because
that
that's
up?
the way to beat Yoel. Is
Okay.
wearing him out with those takedowns. If you don't land him, get him to work like that with his cardio. That's what you do. That's what you.
I guess I was
guy.
surprised that Yoel didn't even sprawl. Like he just. I felt like. A
Well, he's
guy
so
at that
good.
level,
You're not, well, remember,
like, he
Chris.
doesn't care.
No, he does care. Chris got him down, but his scrambling's so good, he just pops up. Like Chris didn't get him down and just hold him down and control him.
So in other words, Yoel knows that he's not going to be held down. He can get.
I don't
back
know
up.
about that. He's just reacting. He's a
Yeah.
world-class athlete, so he's just reacting. He
Right.
doesn't want that because that he's not winning the round when that happens.
He's
And
still
it's also wearing him
He
out.
did look like he was getting gassed. He still has a cardio issue.
Which is why I thought 5 rounds would be better. Granted, it didn't matter in this fight, but Yoel just timed that perfect, and it was such a. I like Yoel, I actually do. I think he's probably your next champ at 85, especially if they line up him and Bisping next.
Beating everybody.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So especially if they give him Bisping next, that's a tough fight for Bisping.
Do you think? Do you think
5 rounds a
Bisping,
little different.
Do you think Bisping ducks him, or is Bisping so competitive he doesn't give a
Ducks
shit?
him, but
Yeah.
Bisping ducks no.
But
Bisping.
he ducks nobody.
Well, you're
How about giving him the
but
double
you're
bird?
the champ.
Fuck
though.
you.
You're the champ though. B. There's no
Yeah.
ducking.
You take what they
Especially
throw in front
Bisping.
of
There's
you.
no
Yeah.
ducking. You can't be like, well, I'll wait for this. The UFC's like, what?
Michael Bisping is such a fighter. He just giving him the finger. Fuck you. That's pretty inappropriate actually for a champion, but it was hilarious.
That's Bisping. That's why
Yeah.
people love or hate him.
God.
He's the best.
That's a tough matchup for Bisping, but 5 rounds if Bisping can survive, Bisping can probably. I like that fight for Bisping better
Bisping
than
doesn't get
Jacare or Rockhold. Matchup wise, that's probably his best fight.
He's got amazing cardio. Bisping.
Amazing cardio. He really doesn't play that whole grappling game. He's not going to be there for those flying knees and stuff. It's a good fight for Bisping. That's a fun fight. But I can see Yoel.
It's
being
better
the
when you
champ.
think about it than it sounds.
It really
on
is because I
paper.
was like, yeah, and I was like, you know what? Bisping's a cardio bunny, and then he can jab the piss out of his face. He doesn't really engage in anything.
Yeah.
It's hard to land big shots on Bisping
He's probably
these
he's a
days.
better striker than Yoel, isn't he? Bisping.
Different.
technically?
Oh, technically, yes. Yeah. Different though. Like
right.
he's not a knockout artist, but for 5 rounds, Bisping will literally box his face.
Yeah.
You know.
Because I know that Connor brought in Kavanaugh, his trainer brought in, I think, cardio experts like cyclists who knew how to take his cardio to a different level.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that someone like Yoel doesn't
It's
do
a
something
genetic
like
thing.
that. It's just too much muscle to feed.
Well,
right?
it's just a genetic thing. Like
Right.
it doesn't matter. You just on your build. Like you're never going to be a guy who benches 500 pounds.
No.
You're not.
And he's never
naturally.
going to be a guy who's
He's not
going to
be a guy.
go 5 rounds.
He's
the
not a
way
guy
Nate
who's.
Diaz
He's
does.
not a guy who's going to run 50 miles. It's just
Right.
not his DNA. It's
Right.
not his genetics.
Right.
Like you can mess with it a little bit, but there's only a certain extent.
He's just an
like
explosive
Remember
athlete.
Woodley? Like Woodley's shredded. He's a jack dude.
Yeah.
His cardio has gotten better because maybe he just wasn't training smart. But I think. Like a guy like Kane, like a guy like
Yeah.
you just can't.
Yeah.
It's just the way they're made.
That's
up,
his
DNA.
advantage.
That's his thing.
Yep.
The same as Woodley and Hector Lombard
Yep.
and Yoel Romero's things to be explosive. Other guys' things they're great at cardio. They have great footwork. Certain things like it's in your wheelhouse.
Right. Right.
I mean, you can always improve it.
Sure.
But can you get the Cain Velasquez cardio? Probably not,
No.
unless you're doping.
Unless you're dope.
Yeah. Can you get the Conor McGregor's fight IQ and speed of the left hand? Probably
God.
not. It's just genes.
Yeah.
But I felt bad. I was so happy for Yo, but I felt bad for Chris, man. Just the
It
way
was heartbreaking in the arena, man.
the way it went down and like the knee, and he was really fucked up, and then I don't know, man. It's just such a bummer for it to end like that for him. Then where's he go from here? Obviously, he doesn't retire. He's still one of the best. If that knee doesn't land, he very well might win that fight. His fight with Luke Rockhold, if he didn't throw that horrible spinning backhand, he probably, we're talking about a different fight. So he's right there. So I don't think he should retire. I think after his next one, let's say they give him, I don't know. Who knows who they give him? But after his next one,
would it be Jacare? Would they give him? Who would they give him?
No, because Jacare keeps winning.
Right.
So he can't lose. But so if he loses that next one, then you got a tough fight.
Winner of Kennedy Rashad?
I was going to say maybe
that makes sense. That makes sense for sure. And now if he were to lose that, then we got to start talking about maybe doing something different. But not yet. Don't throw the towel on Chris Weidman yet. He looks great, and he's right there.
He looked great. I mean, he just got caught.
I had him winning the first and third.
For sure.
What was there, like 2 minutes left when Romero hit that?
Damn.
I feel like there wasn't much time left. Probably at least a good like halfway through the third.
It was almost like a freak.
Explosive.
It was weird that he chose to do that. Go for that double.
It had been working. It had been working, and he wanted to tire him out.
But there was no setup at all behind it.
Yeah, I think just fatigue.
He just shot in the middle of the cage.
Yeah, fatigue. What was the next one, F? Then you got Joanna versus Carol K.
Man, she
Jesus,
put up a
Joanna
fight.
Carolina.
How good is that Carol K girl? And I was talking all that shit.
I know. Good for
I
her.
want to
right?
apologize to Carol
K.
K. Yeah, I thought she was going to get nip and tuck botched up in this bitch, but no. The only one who got botched was our girl Joanna.
Yeah.
Her face was jacked up.
She had that mouse turned into a giant snake.
That was a great fight. I've never seen Joanna in that much trouble ever. By far, Joanna's most competitive fight.
Yeah, that was the only time we've ever seen her
you know what?
legitimately
Claudia Deja, sorry, I apologize to the listener. Claudia Deja, the first fight, some think she actually beat Joanna.
Yeah, I think the Joanna Gadelia fight too. The second one was a harder fight than this one.
Me too.
So like Joanna convincingly won 4 rounds.
Claudia fought her harder. Claudia fought her harder, but I think this Carol K girl, you just, on paper she really didn't match up. They fought before. It was a fun fight though.
Really fun.
Really, really fun, right? Did they get? Oh no, they didn't get fight of the night. Wonder Boy did, right?
I believe so.
And that was next.
Wonder Boy got fight of the night, huh?
Yeah, Wonder Boy got
agree with
performance of the night, 100%.
Yeah,
performance.
Performance.
Oh no, it's fight. Sorry, fight of the night, right?
It was pretty exciting when he was caught and that guillotine
Hell yeah,
popped out.
They should get fight of the night
Wow.
for sure.
Insane.
I loved it.
How's his neck not pop up?
I don't know. The press conference was so funny because Tyron Woodley is such a nice guy. Goes, now don't hate me. I'm sorry about this to say this to you, Wonder Boy, but he's got a small head. His head isn't that big, and he popped it out.
He has a tiny head. That fight was amazing, man. I think
his strategy was interesting because Tyron was talking about. He said that because Wonder Boy's a counter striker, that's why he was putting his back against the cage and letting Wonder Boy come to him to close that distance so he could get closer.
Smart.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's smart because when you rush in on Wonder Boy, you get knocked out. It's very smart game plan. And shout out to Duke Rufus, the whole Rufus sport team there in Milwaukee.
And he said Duke Rufus had put his ego, like he's not an egotistical guy in any way, because Tyron brought in a national Taekwondo champ, a bunch of other people who had their point of view
figure
on
out this
yeah.
riddle.
Run
And
Raymond Daniels.
Duke Rufus had the confidence to sit back and say, these guys have a perspective.
No, he's the head. He's the captain of the
Yes.
ship, and he bring in all these
Yes.
other guys to help narrate.
Smart fight by Tyron Woodley, really.
Smart fight. Yeah, I thought Wonder Boy fought very smart. He was so. I think in the rematch we can get into it. I think in the rematch, he almost has to. If he's gonna win this fight, he can't be so scared to get taken down.
Yeah.
Because after he got taken down, he
Stopped kicking, didn't he?
Stopped kicking as much. He wasn't as aggressive.
Yeah.
Where if I'm his coach, I'm like, listen. In training camp, you're gonna get taken down, but we gotta just work on getting up.
Yeah.
That's easier said than done. But to allow him to tee off and really finish this fight, because by going decision, Woodley's going to win that decision most of the time.
Yeah.
The odds are in Woodley's favor with his wrestling background. So if I'm game planning for him, I would say there's a chance you're going to get taken down, but it's just a matter of time. You're going to catch him. In 25 minutes, that kick's going to land. But don't be so hesitant to let your hands go. I don't know if he had an injury with that left hand, but he wasn't firing like he usually does either. But again, he was very tentative after the takedown.
There did seem something.
I thought it was a draw all along.
Yeah.
And I even tweeted out before the decision. I went, I can see this being a draw.
I haven't seen. You said that to me.
What'd you have? 2-3-5, Wonder Boy 10-9s, and then round 1
10-8.
10-8
You
for
said
T-Wood.
that to me. You
and
said
4 for
I
Wood.
think this could be a draw.
I went, this is a draw.
That's how I had it also.
I honestly have. I don't think. I can't remember the last time I saw a draw in the UFC.
Especially
that's
especially
rare.
for a title fight.
That's the first time I can remember seeing one in a title fight.
How mad? When they announce it, they go, judge, blah, blah, blah. draw. 48-48. Judge blah, blah, blah. 48-48. Draw. Then judge blah, blah. 49-48 for the winner by majority decision. Like, what the fuck? Who read that? Steve Harvey was like, hey, I'll take it from here. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, when they did that, like, how can you have two draws? One guy gives it, and that doesn't work like that. This ain't Metamoris. Like, what are we doing?
But
here?
it was still called a draw. It was.
They originally it was called a winner for Woodley.
Right.
Then they had to go back,
So
back, and be like, hold up, it's a draw.
Yeah, it's a
so if you don't beat the champ, obviously Woodley's still the champ. And the only fight to do, and there's no other talk.
Redo.
You have to do a rematch.
Yeah.
But a fight like that and that abuse, they need to do that mid 2017. That shouldn't be
give him
something.
time.
Yeah, that shouldn't be something you do quickly.
Dude, that right hand or left hand, whatever Woodley
Both
threw,
of them got jacked
shut
up.
his eye out.
Both of them got jacked up. And then Woodley was landing some bombs. How tough is Wonder Boy, man? And I got to be honest, I mean, granted, the Matt Brown fight will show you his toughness. You watch that, like, it was a scrap, and Matt Brown was all over him. He didn't quit. I'm not saying he had quit in him. I just didn't know. Usually when guys are strikers like that, when the going gets rough, especially when there's
They're not used to
grappling.
being ground down.
But especially a fight like that, it's like, well, he might break his will.
No.
Dude, I have so much more respect for Wonder Boy. I've trained with him. He's a great guy. He comes from a very successful family. So when you add that up, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Bro, you
His
want to
dad
talk
was, I don't know if you remember, his dad was
his
right there.
His dad's his cornerman.
Yeah, his dad was right at the cage while his son was getting just cranked on.
His dad's his cornerman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he corners him every
God,
fight.
man.
Yeah. But they own a huge, like, widely successful gym in South Carolina, Taekwondo gym. And, you know, he has a good life. So when you see that, and I see Woodley, and, it was a good fight. I had it a draw.
Yeah.
I did have it a draw. You look at the CompuStrike numbers, and it really definitely favors Woodley. But just going off the fight, and I'd have to watch again alone in the dark without fans and see how I score it. But just right away, right when they unran, I looked at the calendar and went, I think this is a draw.
Right.
Which is
at the
crazy
press
to say. I even tweeted out, and people were like, bullshit, and then boom.
At the press conference, all they were asking Woodley about was him fighting Conor. And Woodley was like, look, I'm not going to say anything. I'm bigger than he is. So if I beat up on him,
The
I
bigger
lose.
guy
If I
can't
lose,
ever say anything.
what Chael was saying.
But this is the other thing. There is no other fight to make than Woodley Wonder Boy. There's no. You can't even
Then
talk
you can
about
talk
it.
about other shit.
Yeah,
Well,
but
Dana already said that that's what they're gonna do.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
Correct
anything
decision.
else, obviously it's fun for the media and stuff to ask him about Conor. He has his hands so full with Wonder Boy. Because Wonder Boy's going to go back, look at that tape like, oh, I could land this, I can land this. We know what Woodley's going to do. Wonder Boy has the bigger advantage now because he knows how. So Tyrone, his best way to fight me is his back on the cage and me coming to him. Okay, watch these adjustments because I've been kickboxing all my life. I'm the best striker in the UFC. I can make those adjustments. What adjustments does Woodley make?
Yeah.
Remember it now. So I think in the rematch, if I'm going to pick a favorite, it's going to be Wonder Boy again, but even more so.
How did you describe on stage when I asked you what it was like to spar with Wonder Boy?
I said it's like that movie Rush Hour with Chris Tucker when he's fighting those Asians, and one kicks him, he goes, all right, which one of y'all kicked me in the face? That's what it was like. Like you had no idea. Like what? It was a different.
God.
It was like an octopus.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's a great
long
fucking
legs,
guy.
right? Just the whole.
And like the nicest guy in the world, though. It's
Jesus.
like, how are you such a badass?
Yeah.
And hands down, it's like I think I can hit him, and you just can't.
You can't.
No one could. No one could.
Dude.
You're talking
was thinking about that
You're
'cause
talking about Nate,
Yeah.
GSP, Rashad, myself,
Really?
Cody. Everyone's like,
Did he ever spar with Lyoto Machida? That would be a really fun thing to watch.
I'm sure they've messed around, but no.
Yeah.
Completely different
Totally very
striking.
different, though.
Completely different striking. Even Goldberg was like, very Leo Machida. I'm glad Rogan was kind of like, a little different.
Well,
Wonder
Rogan-
Boy's
Rogan said
way more
maybe
decorated.
better, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no, they're not even close.
Okay.
Like, one's very, very highly decorated. Leo Machida's taekwondo style is amazing, especially for MMA. He's a knockout artist, but on paper, and through fights, Wonder Boy is by far the more elite striker.
Yeah. Amazing.
Whew, that was a hell
And
of a
then
fight.
there's
man.
Conor McGregor.
Dude, what the fuck are we witnessing?
Greatness.
What is going on?
You know
here?
what we're witnessing now? All
But
bullshit
people
aside?
need to recognize what's going on.
greatness.
Well, you're witnessing for the first time ever our Michael Jordan, our Bruce Lee, our fucking
Muhammad Ali in a way.
Muhammad Ali, our name it, Hank Aaron. You're witnessing the pure greatness, a once in a lifetime. And I've had suits that work for the UFC tell me, it doesn't matter. We decide who's a star. You guys are wrong
right.
because Conor is so special, so unique that he talks the talk, walks the walk.
Yeah.
And remember, Conor should not, and I was talking about this with you yesterday, Conor should not really be favored in these fights. And I don't say, Shab, you're Conor Dick, right, blah, blah, but think about it. He's really, especially in the UFC, never fought at 55. He fights the champion Eddie Alvarez, who's a better grappler. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he's this guy in a win streak.
Has beaten, the monsters of the
Dos
monsters.
Anjos, Chandler,
Pettis,
Pettis.
right?
He's beat a ton of guys.
Yeah.
The balls and the tenacity and the ability to not put limits on himself. This is a once in a lifetime.
It's so inspiring to see that.
Well, think about it. To fight Nate Diaz at 170, think how much he has to lose. So he fights the bigger guy at 170, loses. He fucking loses. And then they go, all right, dude, that was crazy. He's way too big for you. He goes, whoa. No. We're doing that 70 again. I can do this, man.
Yeah. And
even his own
no.
coaches were like, no, man, we want this 55. And Conor goes, no. I can do this. Let me prove to people that I can actually fight this guy who's 30 pounds heavier than me. I can do this. He does that. Mm-hmm. Say what you want. Scorecard shows he fucking beat him.
Knocks him down 3 times.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
3 times. Insane.
Yeah.
Which he should have been the underdog in that fight. If you look at the
100%.
numbers. And then, even before that, Jose Aldo undefeated for what? How long?
9 years?
9 years.
9 years? You're talking
Might
about
have been more.
one of the greatest strikers to ever enter the octagon. He murks him in 16 seconds? What was it?
13 seconds. Yeah.
It's insane.
9 years and 13 seconds.
It's fucking nuts. The movie of his career is going to be crazy, but we're witnessing him right now. And then to go at 55, and I told you guys, at 55, the matchups aren't in Conor's favor. Well, Eddie Alvarez comes out and just looks like Conor looked like a straight-up legend amongst sheep.
Yes, he did.
There's no...
And Eddie Alvarez,
the Underground King... He's in the Hall of Fame, everybody.
Yes.
Eddie Alvarez going to the Hall of Fame.
Eddie Alvarez
that wasn't
is as
even
tough as it gets.
Fight. They weren't even in the same realm of the octagon.
So here's my question, and because you're a fighter, and this is what I think. I really think that it feels like his confidence comes, of course, from work ethic, but everyone works hard. I think this guy has a secret in terms of his striking. He knows somehow that as a boxer, he's so far ahead, and he knows. I feel like he's reading these guys, their patterns, and he's watching tape and going, I know what their bag of tricks is, and I know how to exploit it. Whether that's like, I'm a southpaw, I'm gonna get you to throw with your right hand, you're gonna be open, bang, bang. So I feel like his boxing is so far advanced to these guys. And because boxing is so subtle, a little bit like with like high-level wrestling, you can't really when you watch Khabib Nurmagomedov hold down Michael Johnson, he's got him, he's locked his leg up, he's riding the wrist. It looks like if you didn't have a trained eye, you see a lot of guys who it looks basic. Yeah. The devil is in those tiny details. And I feel like with boxing with Conor, the devil is in his ability not just to judge distance, but to set up, to get the other guy to do things that render him completely open.
Well, you must have listened to the Big Brown UFC205 Breakdown.
I didn't, but
because I said that word for word.
Okay.
So what makes Conor so special is his fight IQ. We've seen guys who are big and faster, stronger. We've seen guys who are better grapplers, better kickboxers, better boxers probably. Nate Diaz, as far as boxing, better boxer. Nick Diaz, better boxer. They just are. They're better boxers.
Wow.
But what makes Conor so special is his fight IQ. Again, and it's not really something you can learn. It's just something he was born with. But
define what that means.
So Conor's ability to, just like in the Eddie Alvarez fight, say, this is what he's going to do in this situation. I can already, if it's checkers, I know what move you're going to make before you know.
Right.
Because I have, for whatever reason, this gift. I'm fucking Mama Cleto. And I have this gift to predict the future, what you're going to do. And if you're not going to do it, I'm going to make you do it.
It's
and
like
he just uses his skill and his reach and and he's upright. And the wrestling, I mean, people want to say, Conor can't wrestle. I beg to differ. The guy's so smart. You think he's just phenomenal at this part and just neglects this? No, he's too smart.
You said he has the best, most expensive camp in the world. He's flying in the best of the best when it comes to wrestlers.
Yeah, he's not stupid. The game plan to beat him, obviously, is grappling. He's very aware of that. And if Eddie would have been successful with the grappling, he would have stuck to it. But he was like, oh shit, this guy's really tough to take down.
Yeah.
So... what makes Conor a special animal, a special creature, human being, and the best fighter to ever walk in the octagon. I've changed that because it used to be John Jones for me. I've always said that. It's Conor McGregor now. is because there's no ceilings on this kid.
There's no ceilings.
And now I have no argument. If he wants to fight Woodley at 70,
I was gonna say
probably.
Yeah, I was
Does
gonna
he
say-
beat him? Probably.
I was gonna say
I don't know how he loses.
Okay,
I don't know.
Well, that conceivably is the crazy thing to say. Conceivably is this guy, and we can all see this
not
guy
a far stretch.
winning the 170-pound belt and taking it from Woodley. Here's the problem with guys like Woodley, guys like Lawler, the bigger guys. There is a liability. You have to take into account the fact that probably someone like Woodley, someone like Lawler, because they're so stout physically,
Just
and
gonna
so strong,
overpower him.
They
His
can
knockout
They
shot.
can absorb the shot and then take him.
I don't
down.
think that's smart. Oh, if I'm his manager coach, you're not fighting at 70 anymore.
Yes.
55 is your home
Yes,
base. And at 55, and I've
though, that
said
belt
this on
on
this show. I've said this on Rogan. I don't like the matchups for him. Well, I'm changing my tune. I like every matchup for him. Because that touch of sleep left hand,
Yeah.
if it lands on any 55 in the world, it is so over.
Yeah.
And he's the only guy with that knockout power I've ever seen.
It was like watching.
It's his accuracy though, because Woodley hits like a train. Thompson is quick as a snake, and that 55 you have all those monsters. Ferguson hits hard. Dos Anjos hits hard. Watch the actual knockout of Eddie Alvarez. He throws basically a 4-piece combo, really 3, I think, if you include the feint, it's a 4. The 4-piece combo he throws, every single one of them lands on the button. But remember, it's not like he's sitting like a punching bag.
No.
He's moving and badoosh, badoosh, badoosh. That's how he ends it.
It's crazy.
That's how he ends it. So now he's the world champion at 55. He's the world champion at 45. You're gonna have to vacate the belt at 45. You can't make 45. It's too big of a stretch. Leave that division alone. It's slowly dying. It's a cemetery of bodies over there. Let that go. Let Pettis, Max Holloway, all those guys fight for that. Give that up.
Yeah.
You're right. You're the first 2-division champ. It's fucking insane at the same time. It's so insane at this day and age for a guy to do it. Again, once in a lifetime, there will never be another Conor McGregor. Because now it's the same thing as Coke. When you refer to a soda, you call it, give me that Coke. Even if it's a Pepsi, Sprite, whatever it is. Yeah, give me that Coke. Kleenex is tissue paper, but we call it Kleenex.
Yeah.
With Conor McGregor, now when someone talks shit, you go, he's doing Conor.
Yeah.
For the rest of
Yeah,
our
you're
lives,
right about
it's
that.
going to be, that's Conor.
No, he's changed
For the
it.
rest of
He's a game
So there's
changer.
pioneers. So Ronda was a pioneer.
Yeah.
Chuck Liddell, Brock Lesnar. You have these pioneers that are
Brock Lesnar to a lesser extent.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
these magnitude of athletes that
Yes.
kind of change the game a little
Yes.
bit. But with Conor McGregor, people say, if the UFC wants to make guys a star, they can make a star. You're wrong. You guys are so off on this. If you're listening to WWE, you guys are off on this.
Yeah.
You have to invest in the fighter and the personality because they are once in a lifetime athletes. It's very, very fucking hard. It's not the NFL. You don't have a crop of 300 something guys that get drafted every year that you can just flush guys in and out. In the UFC, there's no direct path.
Yeah.
So to get a guy who has world-class striking, to get a guy who looks like Conor McGregor, to get a guy who thinks like Conor McGregor, to
talks
get a
like
guy
Conor.
who speaks like Conor, to get a guy who realizes the game like Conor,
Yeah.
to get a guy who's willing to fight a guy at 70, to get a guy that's going to fight at 55, to get a guy who has the confidence to murk Aldo and call it.
Yeah.
You
He
can't.
backs up everything he says.
You can't duplicate.
He backs
that.
up everything he
You
says.
just can't.
And here's the phenomenal thing about him fighting Woodley. Let's just because I can't stop.
It's
thinking
not
about it.
happening, but
I
carry
know
on.
I just can't stop.
It's literally a
fantasizing
waste of
about
our
it
time. It's
because
not happening.
because
like I said,
it's a
anyone who
waste
wants
of
to
our
talk about
time.
Woodley, you got to talk about the Thompson fight.
Of course you do, and we should, and that you're 100% right.
You
It's
might as well talk
disrespectful
about.
to
You might as
not-
well talk about Conor Floyd.
I agree, but just indulge me for a second. I just, for me, it is conceivable, as we said, he could have 3 belts, which is so stupid, but forget all that. I just like the idea that if Woodley had to fight Conor, Woodley's having a conversation probably a little bit like this, which is, yeah, you're a 170-pound champ. Now, Tyron, please don't stand and bang with him. 'cause you're gonna get
No,
knocked
his
out.
coach is saying,
Tyron,
wrestle his big
If you
ass.
can, take some shots to the face, keep your chin down, and grab onto that son of a bitch.
Just
and hold on for dear
curl
life.
up and bull through
Yes.
him and get a hold of
You're
his
big enough to do it,
Russian
and
ass.
that's the game
Get a
plan.
hold of his Irish
Yeah.
ass and
Yeah.
dump him on the
Do
ground.
not stand with him, please, and don't throw because
no
you're going
one's
to
saying
sleep.
That. No one's saying that.
That's what's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's what's crazy. This is what's interesting to me with the new UFC brass and everything. Because now Conor goes, I'm not fighting, man. His girl's pregnant. He goes, I want to be set for life. The things I'm doing for you guys, I should be getting paid way more. He knows his worth, right? So he has the belt at 45, belt at 55. He'd probably even take it at 70. Who knows? I think for the first time, I think the UFC will bow down to his needs and give him a portion of the company, but that maybe. Were you talking with Ari Emanuel? I don't know. It's tough, man, with the new UFC brass. Maybe they just increase his pay-per-view number. Like, we're not giving you part of the company because we do that, then everyone else can ask for it. I think he's setting the blueprint for the UFC on what not to do. Does that make sense as a businessman?
Yeah.
Because now
You're leaving
you have a
yourself
guy, Conor McGregor, who has so much power. He's your biggest star of all time.
He's mainstream.
Not even close.
He's your mainstream.
Listen to me. And in the camera, it's not even remotely fucking close. You have all these celebrities tweeting out. You have your biggest
Madonna was there. Madonna was there.
Yeah. Backstage, Madonna just kind of wasn't paying attention, was walking towards me, wasn't paying attention, walks face first directly into my shoulder. Boom.
You should have gave her an old smoochy smooch. But you have the biggest live gate of all time, Madison Square Garden. Think about all the amazing stuff there.
Yeah.
You have the biggest pay-per-view draw of all time. He's the highest paid fighter of all time, right? So they've created this monster that has all this power, right? He has all this power. I think UFC's going, fuck, we can't let this happen again. And this is what's crazy, and I don't, and I know you guys probably won't believe me, but if you're a Conor McGregor fan and you want to help his negotiating and you want him to change the game, you almost want Ronda to lose for this reason. Hear me out on this. The reason you want Ronda to lose her next fight is because she's the only star left with star draw power. Even though she hasn't fought forever, she's talking about suicide and and she's dark as fuck. She's still the one remaining draw that they have.
Yeah.
That's it though. There's Conor, who's in a different league by himself. There's Ronda down here, and then there's everybody else.
It's really true.
If Ronda were to lose, Conor's negotiating power goes shroop.
He's the only one people are
So
interested
as a
in.
fighter, you want Conor to have the most negotiating power.
And let's be honest, the crown, the belts are on a revolving door for a lot of the other weight classes.
All of them. The sport's getting so good. Most of them, all those belts are going to be revolving.
Yeah, and so people just aren't invested in any personality.
And I think Conor's smart because everyone goes, what about Khabib? What about Ferguson? I love those guys. And as an MMA purist, he should fight one of those two next. There's no discussion there. One of those two guys should be fighting him for the title. Is it going to happen? It's not. Ferguson's not a draw. Not even remotely close. We love him as MMA purists.
Yep.
He's bad as they get.
Great.
He's not a draw at all. Khabib, he's been out too long. He's not active enough. We know him as MMA purists. Russians know him. In this market, it's so tough to sell that fight.
You can't even pronounce his name, most people.
No, I can't.
He is a fucking superstar in Russia, though.
In Russia.
For whatever that's worth.
And does that translate to pay-per-view numbers? I don't think so. Otherwise, you'd see him on all the pay-per-views. Have you name the last pay-per-view he headlined?
Good point.
Just give me like one.
Well,
though.
yeah, I mean they can't. The UFC as a business model focuses more on domestic numbers anyway.
No, in Brazil, if he was that big of a deal, I promise you, he would headline a Russian pay-per-view fight card. Andreevsky would be in Belarus. There's just the market's not there yet. Even though with Fedor and stuff like that, for Conor, that's a tough matchup. Does he beat him? Probably. It's even tough to break down. I can't doubt the fucking guy anymore, even though I thought it was a terrible matchup for him 3 days ago, which is insane. But as WME, who's into entertainment, and it's become this entertainment kind of society now in the fight culture, you're not going to see him fight either of those guys. There's no upside for Conor.
There's no upside.
There's zero upside.
Yeah.
It'll be lower pay-per-view numbers than this last one, probably. Or I don't know. Conor's the only draw. So for him, pick who you want to fight, man, and pick smart. So I think for him, if I'm Conor McGregor, what I do next, got to give up the 45 belt because you're keeping that
hostage.
Yeah, and those guys need to move on. Let Max Holloway, Anthony Pettis, and the rest of those monsters fight for that belt. Yeah. You don't really care about it. You're the first two-time champ in multiple divisions, inactive. That's great. Let that belt go. You got that. So then you can keep 55. If I'm Conor McGregor and I have a kid on the way. You know how scary it is to be a dad, and you want to make sure everything's stable and stuff like that. And especially with his fame, you're talking about a different animal. You hold out until they pay you some ridiculous amount of money. I'm talking ridiculous that we've never heard of. Some Floyd Mayweather amount of money because that's what he's worth. He's more famous.
It is what he's worth.
He's more famous than Floyd Mayweather now. He's current
You think
too.
so?
Yes, especially now.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Huh.
Yeah, I do.
I wonder worldwide, probably not, right?
MMA's. I feel like it's bigger.
I don't know.
I feel like
I'd
it's
like
bigger.
to see the numbers. I mean, I think there's an
And
argument to be certainly more colorful in a way.
Well, no, that doesn't matter. But do this, Kevin. Do this for me. Let's just go off social media. Let's just go off social media. Who has more Instagram and Twitter followers? Let's just see as far as because they're both. That's international. Now that doesn't mean one guy's bigger than the other. Maybe one guy's better on social media than the other.
Right.
I'm just saying for this.
I hear you.
But you have a great argument. Who's more famous, Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather. This is why I say.
I just think Floyd's been around longer, so maybe.
I agree, but here's my thing. With my generation, with the social media world, digital age that we're in, Conor McGregor, rise was during that time.
Yeah.
He's better on social media. He's outlandish like Floyd. He's knocking guys out.
Yeah.
But also, who's better on social media and who's better at pushing fighters and as a promotion? Boxing or UFC?
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw Floyd Mayweather? When's the last time you saw Floyd Mayweather on ESPN?
Yeah.
Fox. When's the last time you saw E talking about him? Besides hitting women, maybe. When's the last time you saw him on Good Morning America?
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw all these celebrities? You don't see it.
Yeah.
So I just feel like Conor's bigger in that aspect because.
I would imagine it depends on the market. Like in
But
Mexico.
also, name another famous Irish fighter.
I can't think of one.
Now name another.
Like
name another famous African American athlete.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So you're talking about the elephant amongst.
It might be a little bit like the Manny Pacquiao phenomenon. Like he's Filipino. Philippines shuts down when he fights, and his name.
But you're talking about boxing.
Yeah, it's boxing. Yeah.
Mayweather has him soundly beat in all social media
Really?
categories.
Not even close.
It's just been around so long.
Twitter, Conor's sit at around 3 million. Floyd's at 7. Facebook, Floyd is at 12 million. Conor's at 4.5. And Instagram, Conor is at 8 million, and Floyd is at.
Boxing's more of a world market right now, probably. Boxing in the Philippines, boxing in any of those
13.4
in Mexico and Latin America. I would imagine boxing.
It's a good argument. You know what I'm saying? Like who's more famous?
But Conor's closing in. He might be closing in.
And I'll say, like I said, you can't go just off social media, and you might be right, but I'm just saying the argument here that Conor McGregor, as far as this day and age, he's current right now.
You're putting your money on
greatness
him.
right
He's the new
now.
money.
Dude, he's been in the UFC for 4 fucking
4
years. That's it.
4 years.
Yeah.
That's it.
But-
Floyd's been at this since like what?
Maybe-
since
over
his kid.
over
I
a
mean,
decade.
has it even been that long? Has it even been 4 years?
It's been 4 years.
4 years.
Wow.
But this is the thing with Floyd. We've seen great boxers that are African American who are flashy. You've never seen an Irishman like a Conor McGregor
I can't
who
think
talks
of
the
one. I
talk,
can't think of
walks
one.
the walk, dresses that way. And you know what I'm saying?
It's incredible.
That's why. I think he's gonna be bigger than Conor if he's not already.
I'd like to take this opportunity
I
to
think-
apologise to absolutely.
Hey,
fucking no
I think
one.
What
if you
about
ask
pay-per-view
someone
numbers?
today,
What about pay-per-view numbers?
didn't Mayweather Pacquiao do like 40 million buys or
biggest
something
of all time.
insane?
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't have an
But
argument
that's
there.
also the two biggest names in boxing. I mean, that's Pacquiao and Mayweather.
I have
I mean,
no
two of the
argument
greatest
there, yeah.
ever.
Pay-per-view is not going to work.
Yeah, but
my
I mean,
point.
still, even if you put Conor against, Ronda in a freak in that kind of freak show, I don't know if that
No.
beats 40 million.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it's not.
Not even
No,
close.
no.
Yeah,
No,
MMA,
but I think
I
if
think
you-
it shows you MMA has a ways to
Yeah,
go.
you guys are
I think if you asked someone between 18 and 34 who they would rather watch a fight of right now, Floyd Mayweather or Conor McGregor, I think 8 out of 10 say Conor McGregor.
For sure.
Now, speaking of
It's
boxing,
just a matter of time.
Now what happens with, and then we get to boxing
Yeah.
because there's a huge one this weekend we got to talk about. But if with Conor McGregor, he seems to be a guy who, again, knows. I know I keep saying this, but it's so rare. He knows his worth. He knows what he brings to the table. Madison Square Garden, by the way, after his win, lit the entire stadium in Irish flag colors, which is insane if you think about it. But he knows his worth. I think he's achieved everything he's going to achieve as far as 2 belts, and he beat the blah blah blah. And he's made all this money. His next fight and the biggest fight of his life is with WME.
that's a good point.
That's the biggest fight of his
And
life.
by the way,
right
when
now.
he says WME, he means William Morris Endeavor,
Who own the UFC.
and they're a huge agency. There's CAA and there's William Morris Endeavor, and those are the two big players that represent really most athletes and most big movie
stars,
There's
direct. They own Hollywood.
There's a saying
They own
that says if
everything
you're not
entertainment.
with either one of those agencies, you ain't in the business.
Hey, we're with CA, so
Oh,
give it up, dog.
shit.
Fucking rich as shit. No, just kidding. But that's Conor's fight, and it's his biggest obstacle of all time. Like to negotiate with them and to get that kind of piece of the pie. But his argument goes, all right, well, you got Conan O'Brien, you got Ben Affleck, you got fucking all these Matthew McConaughey who partially owns some of the UFC.
It's a little insulting.
I need my share, son.
Give me my equity.
It'd be tough to see if they do it. I think what they're gonna do is just pay him a shitload, but not give him equity. It'd be tough. Maybe when he retire, I don't know. He's fighting upward battle now. It's tough. That's his fight though. That's his fight. But, man, UFC 205, and for everyone who came, and we'll wrap UFC 205 right now, but everyone who came out to Palm Beach and stayed from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. with us, and you watched the live comedy show with Bryan and I, which
God, dude. It's
probably
like
our best
hanging out
show
with a bunch
yet.
of friends.
It
It's
really
like
is.
hanging out with
and then the
people
live
who know
fight,
you.
man. And I'd be willing to say this, and I think you would be surprised for even me to say this. I'd be down to do it again.
100%.
You know what I'd be down to do, though? I'd be down to do Friday night live fighting the kid before, and then Saturday night live campaign with Bryan and Brendan.
Yeah, that's better because for us, it's
More energy for us.
Yeah, but for us, we get there
It's
at
better
6.
for the crowd, though.
Yeah.
Because Bryan and I were there from 6 to 2.
That's a long time. It's all good, but it's
I
a
love
lot
it.
of energy to put out.
But for the fans, it's tough to sit there
Yeah.
during that. That's what I'm more worried about them.
100%.
You and I do our thing, but
100%.
for it's more work for them.
Yes. But it's a privilege, man, and you guys were awesome. I love our fans.
Dude, I sat next to a
love our
gentleman,
fans.
and I'm always worried about this. I can't watch fights. So this guy was great, man. He was a father of 2.
And reminded us.
He was a father of 2, and just me and we're just talking shit the whole time. And then
You're talking about the guy with the hat who was sitting next to you.
sitting next to me,
Great
he
guy.
was brilliant.
Yeah.
He sent
And
us, I
reminded
got to
us-
forward you the email. He was great. Send me a
Reminded us
great
that he
email.
said, dude, I came here because I wanted to watch a fight companion. Get on the mic and start talking.
Because
And
I
was like,
didn't know, because the crowd, when the fight's coming out, I was asking Ryan, like, how should we do this, man? And he leans over and goes, can I give you some advice? And usually I'm like, well, here we go. And he goes, man, one of the reasons I came is because I want to see you guys do a live podcast, which was a live comedy show, which I loved. But also I'm here because I can watch fights at home and everyone's silent. I want to do how you guys do on the fight campaign. I want to feel like one of those guys. And we went, all right,
Done.
turn on the mic. And
Thank
I
God
think
for
people
that guy.
dug it. Yeah.
It was great.
But then there's another gentleman where the big white dude and his wife
With
who
the
was black.
Cubs shirt?
Yeah, with the Cubs
Yeah,
shirt.
yeah.
The waitress comes over and goes, listen, that guy over there, I have to say something. He's your biggest fan, man, and he thinks it's nerdy or something if he asks you for a picture, like he's embarrassed. I went, which guy? He was there. I went over and I went, hey, man, you're taking a picture with me. I went, shit. And then I sat down and watched, I forget which fight. I think I watched the Joanna fight with him and just talked to him and his wife.
Yeah, he seemed like a good guy. Big boy.
Big boy.
Big old strapping
dude,
white
he
guy.
showed me a picture of his kid.
So
this
cute.
fucking baby. And it's rare. Like, when people show you pictures of kids, well, now I like it because I'm a dad. But I'm like, hey, Bryan, Jay, get over here. Look at this kid. This fucking
he
kid
made
was
us
so
look at
cute.
the baby. It was so cute.
Dude, this kid was unbelievably cute.
You made him bring it up on his phone. He's like, really? Let me find it on my...
I couldn't get enough of it, man.
Yeah. It was
This kid was so fucking cute.
Yep.
Shout out to that guy. You got the cutest
the
kid
mixture
in the
of
world.
white and black, ladies and gentlemen.
Oof.
Makes
Yeah, his
for-
wife was from Jamaica.
Makes for a
And
beautiful
we're talking
caramel
about
color.
we're talking about getting your kids with the shots and babysitters and
Yep.
Trump and it was
Conversations
fun,
you
man.
never thought you'd have until you
No,
got
it's
children.
fun. It was the best. And again, man, and to me, it gave me this kind of new, I don't say hope, but this new perspective on doing live shows for the fights. Where I'm like, if someone asked me to do one, it has to be Fighting Kid, has to be our thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to fucking Applebee's and watch it with the UFC crowd while they wear tap-out shirts in Affliction. And here's Brendan Schaub, retired fighter, sit there and sign autographs. That's not what we're going to do.
no.
If it's Fighting the Kid setup,
they know you.
I'm fucking in.
They know you.
That's what they say. They're like, dude, I feel like you know you.
And they
So
do.
yeah, so it's funny. It's like fun bickering back and forth and
It's
fucking
such
around.
a privilege. I feel like I'm at home with a bunch of friends.
God, it
like
was
they
cool,
speak
man.
the language. I'm
Yeah.
out there. I'm running around the tables, messing around. They're all like,
They're
"What's
like
up?"
Uncle Bryan.
They literally,
They're
that's
literally
what
like
they
Uncle
say.
Bryan.
The guys were, but the women were like, "He's so fucking hot in person."
Weird. I
wanna
didn't hear any
fuck
of
you.
that.
Let me fuck you. They
I
kept saying that. I was like,
I
I'm
didn't hear any of
married. They're
that.
like, please, just let me
I
get a
hear
taste.
that. I gotta drain my beaker as
You
we're
gotta,
going
you gotta
on.
drain it out.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Drain-
go.
Don't say drain it out.
Well,
and then we'll come back and talk about the huge
right.
boxing fight this Saturday.
All right.
If you don't know what we're talking about,
Yep.
I want you to put your fist on your desk right now. Just look at your fist and then headbutt it.
Just drive
Do
your
that
face into
as
your
we're
fist.
taking this piss break.
Drive your face into your face.
All right, we're taking 5.
Take in 5. Ooh.
I feel so much better.
Yeah.
Before we get into current events,
You
though,
piss.
let's this weekend. If you guys don't know, Kovalev versus Andre Ward is this Saturday pay-per-view HBO.
Yep.
Hey man,
Yep.
if you guys aren't aware of this fight, no,
So
most
excited.
people aren't.
Yeah.
It's the best fight in a long time. It's the best fight in boxing besides Triple G Canelo.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a good fight. I can't emphasize enough. You guys need to watch this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know Andre Ward, also AK Son of God, he is a guy, Olympic gold medalist. He's undefeated. He's never lost since he was 12. I think he lost the amateur fight, but never lost.
That's Andre Ward since he was
Andre
13.
Ward.
Yeah, hasn't lost. since
Never
he was
lost.
13.
Olympic gold medalist. Phenomenal pro. I want you guys to think, he fights at light heavyweight. I want you to think of Floyd Mayweather, but bigger, better looking, and knockout power. That's what he is in that division. His defense is ridiculous. And then Sergey Kovalev, and this is true, I'm not making this up, he killed a guy.
Yeah,
in
he
the
killed
ring.
a guy.
He killed a guy.
Yeah.
And he's a straight
Hits
savage.
Hits so hard.
Savage.
I think the only guy I haven't seen him
World
knock
champ.
out was Bernard
Bernard
Hopkins.
Hopkins. He's a complete monster. To me, though, Sergey hasn't looked that good in his last two. And I haven't seen the odds. Can you bring up the odds for that, Ev? Don't tell me yet. Let me just guess here. If I was to put money on it, because Andre Ward's defense is so good, his problem is he's had some injuries, and then he had a dispute with his management and promoter, so he hasn't been active enough. Andre Ward, he hasn't been active enough. So I still give the nod to Andre. I think he wins by decision, but I think it's a fun fight, and there's some times where he might get caught, and you don't think he's be able to pull out, but it's
Kovalev,
stylistically, it's such a fun fight.
Freddie Roach said that Kovalev is bigger and stronger, and so he gave it to. He thinks Kovalev is going to win, but you said Kovalev, as great as he is, Andre's just slicker, moves hard to hit.
Like I said, he's the Floyd Mayweather of that light heavyweight division. He's a bigger version of Floyd. This is why I think Andre Ward's going to win. If you want to hear a real breakdown from an expert, Max Kellerman, but I am balls deep in boxing. Andre Ward, Kovalev has never fought a guy like Andre Ward. He's once in a lifetime kind, especially at that weight, boxer and talent. You don't think from 13 and he was on the world tour and on the Olympics, you don't think he's fought a tough Russian with an iron chin who comes forward? Like, he's seen it before.
Yeah.
Sergey's special.
Yep.
But he's not that special to beat Andre Ward.
Right.
If you were to catch Andre Ward, he would win.
It's gonna be tough. Yeah.
But it's gonna be tough to catch Andre Ward. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I'm so looking forward to that fight. Unfortunately, I'll be on stage at the Ontario Improv in California, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Boom.
Yeah, I'll be on stage doing stand up, and I can't watch that.
There's
fight.
also a UFC that night too.
Yep. Don't care about that. I'm more.
That UFC's kind of shitty.
Kovalev is what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, Kovalev.
But
Ward's
again,
the
I'll be
fucking
on
fight.
stage. Ontario Improv, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come out this weekend.
I gotta do something for that Kovalev fight.
Let's,
I'm so excited for it.
I
man.
am too.
Let's do some current events.
Let's do some current events.
All right, let's do it. First one we got today. Dave Chappelle came back. He hosted SNL.
Yes, you did.
Did you see it?
I didn't because I tried getting it on the plane. The opening monologue. What about you? Have the opening monologue?
I have.
What do you have?
He had some pretty cool things to say, especially toward the end.
Yeah.
You watched it?
I read it. I couldn't watch it.
I saw the
so
highlights
I
on
read it,
Twitter, but I tried getting the
Read the
opening
transcript
I heard
if
his
you want.
opening monologue was brilliant.
Yeah.
How special
watch
is
a little
that,
of
dude?
this.
He's in.
I haven't seen it, but apparently he brought back a bunch of his old Chappelle Show characters.
It was the first time I've been there many years, and it was very exciting.
Okay, well.
And BET had sponsored the party, so everyone there was black, and it was beautiful. I walked through the gates. I'm from Washington, so I saw the bus stop, or the corner where the bus stop used to be, where I used to catch the bus to school and dream about nights like tonight. It was a really, really beautiful night.
That's cool.
And at the end of the night, everyone went into the west wing of the White House, and it was a huge party. And everybody in there was black except for Bradley Cooper for some reason.
He might be the funniest guy of
And
all
on the
time.
walls were pictures of all the presidents of the past. Now, I'm not sure if this is true, but to my knowledge, the first black person that was officially invited to the White House was Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
They stopped him at the gates. Abraham Lincoln had to walk out himself and escort Frederick Douglass into the White House. And it didn't happen again, as far as I know, until Roosevelt was president. When Roosevelt was president, he had a black guy over and got so much flack from the media that he literally said, I will never have a nigger in this house again.
Jesus.
I thought about that, and I looked at that room, and I saw all those black faces in Bradley, and I saw...
Bradley.
and I saw how happy everybody was.
And Bradley.
People who had been historically disenfranchised. And it made me feel hopeful. And it made me feel proud to be an American. And it made me very happy about the prospects of our country. So, in that spirit, I'm wishing Donald Trump luck. And I'm going to give him a chance. And we, the historically disenfranchised, demand that he give us one too.
Damn.
Thank you very much.
Damn, David Chappelle.
We'll just do it. Yeah.
You know, that's a guy who's very, very funny and not afraid to be not funny.
His thing is very, very funny, very, very smart.
Well, he's got
Very
he's
smart.
saying
Has an
something
opinion.
that's moving. That was moving.
Yeah, super moving. But funny too. Bradley for some reason.
Well, his pauses, right?
Bradley.
He started to sound a little bit like Barack Obama toward the end of that too.
Bradley. Dude, I saw him before the Dave Chappelle show, all that stuff. He came to Denver. It was really it was the first comedy show I've ever been to. I think it was 2001, so it might have been right when the Chappelle show started. But my buddies got tickets, and I was like, yeah, I'll go. I really wasn't too aware of him. Hands down, the best show I've ever seen in my life. I was laughing.
Really?
So fucking. I'm talking the entire crowd. Destroyed
Dave
them.
Chappelle, man.
Oh my
You want
god.
to talk about 10,000 hours? Dave Chappelle's been doing stand-up since I believe 14 years old.
You want to talk about one of the best
street?
of all time?
Dave used to set up shit on the street and just start doing funny stuff in the village, right there on the and that's
Rogan has a classic story. I think he told on the podcast that, and he was just kicking it with him the other day. But him and Rogan are boys, and Rogan said how they went to this party. He went to a party with him. It's just funny stuff. He was these
Yeah, I've
crazy.
heard that story.
Yeah, and Dave's like, I'm not that famous. And Rogan's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Dave Chappelle.
You're Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
You know.
I think Joe was talking about like one time Chris Rock was talking about how his wife rules the roost and
Yeah.
kind of tells him what to do.
Yeah.
And Rogan looked at him and goes, "Do you know you're Chris Rock? Do you know that? That you don't have to listen to anybody?"
Yeah.
It's great.
It's hilarious. I love Dave Chappelle, man.
Is he your favorite comedian of all time? I feel like for guys in our specific age range,
he's up there.
He's fucking huge.
I agree.
Like Chappelle's show was a game changer.
Oh, dude, Chappelle
Is it still the highest selling TV to DVD set of all time? I think it is.
So the Chappelle show was so fucking funny. Remember the Wayne Brady one?
Oh my god!
Because that time when
I'm
Wayne Brady
Brady,
was
bitch.
on Whose Line Is It Anyway? And he was like this black guy. It's fun. And then he made him a so gangster and wild in this bit. Dude, that Chappelle show, for me, the best
I
TV
gotta
of all
watch
time.
that.
It was the Wayne Brady one, Mad Real World.
Mad-
Where they did the Real World with just
Fucking
that
his
one
girl.
white guy in chat.
The one white guy, he fucks his girl.
Yeah.
He goes, I also slept with Katie. She had some big ass titties. Yeah.
Like, that's my boy Lysol. He has sex with Katie too, man.
That's my boy Lysol. That's it. And then he's all, I also had sex with Katie. She had some big ass titties. So it's
Black white supremacist?
Yeah,
I
so
know,
it's
I
the
know, yeah.
real world. They have one white guy.
Yep.
And then he has one white girlfriend, brings in all the black dudes trying to train on her. It's so funny. Oh, God. What else you got, Ev? Yeah, he's number one for me, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good number one right there.
Is unbelievable. Next one, we'll do a little bit of politics as Trump was getting into. There's been a lot of talk about who he's going to bring into his cabinet, who's going to be his advisors, that sort of stuff. And people were seemingly hoping that he would bring in really established, experienced guys who have, his whole thing was we're going to shake up Washington, take out the suits. And the entire lineup that I've seen him go off of as potential cabinet members for him are the exact opposite of that. There's this Steve Bannon guy who, Callan, I think you can give a little bit of a take on. Yeah. He's thinking about bringing Chris Christie in, Newt
I don't think
Gingrich,
Chris Christie anymore.
Rudy
Giuliani.
Giuliani.
Not Chris Christie.
Rudy's a beast.
But actually, I think his chief of staff is what's his name, Priebus, who is a longtime respected Washington insider, Republican. So he's actually surrounding himself with people who have deep inroads in Washington.
And
Breitbart-
Rudy's a monster.
Yeah. So Steve Bannon is the chairman, or essentially, I think the owner of Breitbart News, and he is a firebrand. He's Irish Catholic. Came from actually blue collar roots. His parents were longtime Democrats, union members, but he is a right wing guy, and he's a firebrand. He's about clicks, and he said things that would be considered anti-Semitic, racist. But when you say that, when you say stuff like that, I think it's a stretch, and I think it's another example of when the left brands someone like Bannon a racist, when they brand him a sexist, when they brand him, all these different things, an anti-Semite. What you're doing, guys, is you are essentially taking a guy who's more complicated than that. He is more complicated than that. He's got more to say, and you're just saying, you're a racist, you're an anti-Semite, and you're a sexist, and you're an asshole, and we just dismiss the guy out of hand. I think it's the mistake that the progressive left continues to make. A guy says a couple of off-color things, you take it out of context. Maybe it was in context, but when you dismiss somebody based on one comment or a couple comments, when you do that, I think you're not doing your side a service. I think you're dismissing somebody out of hand, and the left seems to do that over and over. By the way, the right does too, but the left does it more, and I think we have that. This is an epidemic in our country. You say one thing. Alec Baldwin calls a photographer or one of those guys a cocksucker, and he's considered anti-gay. He's a homophobe, and nobody's done more. Nobody's done more to stand up for gay rights as a straight man than Alec Baldwin in the theater circles and everything else. That's bullshit. Yeah. And he wrote a whole article about it. It said, I think it was titled "I Quit." So we're seeing a lot of this bullshit, and I think let's just be careful. He's way more. Bannon's way more complicated.
You're saying have an open mind. Don't
he's
judge
his chief strategist. He's
comment.
His counsel. He's
but
got
can you
stuff
judge
to say.
someone based off a comment a guy wrote on an article? Remember, what gets clicks is negativity and that labeling.
Yeah.
Not the positive things Alex Baldwin's doing.
No.
Not the positive things Trump is doing. You know what I'm saying?
And you know,
like what was the focus of the campaign? Her emails. Yeah. Him being a knucklehead, and it was all negative, negative.
And you're dismissing people. You're dismissing people out of hand and not listening to some of the ideas they may have. Bannon said famously, he said, you know, look, we do have elements like extreme right-wing racist groups that listen and subscribe to Breitbart News. You are going to have extreme elements that are going to be part. I'm sure you and I have people who are complete bigots and all of the above who listen and get a kick out of. Maybe even a serial killer that likes the fighter and the kid. It doesn't mean we stand for those values. Yeah. So you have to be careful with who subscribes to what.
Shut out, don't kill me.
If you come out and you say something like, you know, whatever it is, if you say, look, at the end of the day, I think black people are inferior in general. I can understand going, well, that's a racist thing to say, and you kind of lost all your credibility. You lost your credibility.
Yeah.
If you're going to say
and
that,
then also don't listen to the show.
There's a lot of that stuff, but it's just more subtle than that. It's more nuanced than that.
Complicated.
Yeah. And
what else you got, Ev?
So, I think we skated over this a little bit in the when we were breaking down 205, but the whole Conor McGregor is having a baby situation.
Yeah.
She's due. D is due in May, I believe.
You could see his girl was pregnant on stage. If you looked in the ring, you could see there's a bump there.
Yeah, which is
I
crazy.
can't believe everyone missed that.
Well, she's due in May, which is, what is that, 7 months from now?
Yeah.
Do you show that early usually?
A little bit, yeah. For sure, she would show a little bit. Sure. You could tell she had a little bit of a bump when she walked in the octagon. I think it's cool. Remember, you know, Conor's always been this no fear type dude, and for the first time, he said,
I'm afraid. I'm
terrified to be a dad.
Yeah, he said I'm shitting my
crapping my jocks.
Crapping my jocks.
It is scary, man. I don't care who you are. Even for me, and you know, I had a baby when I was 31. I found out when I was 31. You know, at 31, you know, I was a little bit older, but kind of, you know, I'm doing all right professionally. Even I was like, ooh.
I got news for you.
You're never ready. If you think there's a good time to have a kid, you're never gonna have it.
And I got news for you. It remains scary. I never thought I'd be presented with problems that I had no control over. And the other thing about having children, I have two of them, is that I am presented with problems all the time that I don't have a solution for, and I have to turn to other people who know stuff more than I do for those solutions.
But I'll tell you this: it's the best thing you're ever going to do in your life. I've had highs of the highs as far as sports go. This show, live shows. I've had some cool stuff happen to me. Nothing remotely close to waking my son up in the morning.
It doesn't mean if you're 18 to have a kid, guys. Just make sure you cross your T's and you're ready for it. You and I.
Again, I don't think you're ever ready for it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a good time to have a kid. If you're waiting for all your I's to be dotted and T's to be crossed, you're never gonna have a kid. And there's been people way less fortunate that figured it out. Remember that. You know how many my girl feel comfortable about being pregnant? Because we watched 16 Pregnant. I went, if those morons can figure it out, look at us.
Yeah.
If they figure it out and their kids turn out fine, we can do this.
I do think
and she went, you're right.
I do think you should. I do think you should try to
settle
your life a little bit. I do think a lot of people do have kids when they're not ready and they're too young.
Yeah, young's different. Yeah, young's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have friends. My brother Jay, we were talking
Sure.
about this. Jay's 34, be 35 in July.
He's enjoying his life.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, man. I'm like,
He's got disposable income. He's like, I want
Some people are not made to be parents. I think
That's
the
right.
most selfish thing you can do is not have a kid. But
Oh, I think that if you don't feel like you want kids, then if you feel like nothing's missing, maybe don't have one. We have a lot of kids in the world, but either way.
it's the
All
only
right.
reason. It's the only reason why you're on this earth. But that's not a big deal.
I don't think.
Especially as a
everybody-
woman.
I don't
Especially
think,
as a
I don't
woman.
think everybody should have kids, including women. You know. it
Well, I'm
just
not.
depends.
If you're a crack addict or something like
Yeah,
that,
I
but
mean-
if you're a good person, this world needs more good people.
Mm-hmm.
Have kids, man. 100%. I think it's so selfish just to not have kids. It's weird to me.
Well, some people just don't want them.
Yeah,
They
no,
want to
some
do other
people don't.
things,
Like what? Like how many trips you gonna go on? I hate to tell you, Italy looks the same every time you go.
I mean,
Hawaii looks the
personally-
fucking
I
same
personally
every
got
time
to a
you go.
point where I was tired of myself. Like I was tired of being the center of my own universe and feeding my own appetites and chasing those sensations in terms of like now having like other people that I'm
Yeah, you've settled
responsible
down
for.
from that. Mm-hmm.
I like more. I mean, it's brought out a better side of me. That's for sure.
I just love. Since I was little, I love kids. Like I'd have 10 of them if it was manageable.
Yeah, you sure would.
I love them.
Yeah, it's gonna be
wants a
different
gang.
for everyone
He
probably
wants a
though.
gang.
Yeah. All right. What
There's
else
some
you
people
got?
that probably can't relate to that at all. Wanting to have
kids?
that many kids or kids in general.
If you have the funds, you have the time, you have the the setup, and the world needs better people, man.
Little
People-
McGregor's gonna have a
Little McGregor's grew
Hell
up
of
a
a-
little different.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
It's always tough when you're that famous and you raise a kid, man. I can't imagine what that's like.
Yeah, that's pretty gnarly.
So what do you got here, Ev?
Next we got is also part of the Connor talk. Nate Diaz crashed in his after party.
And what happens?
I think everything was fine, but I just thought it was interesting that Nate just, I don't know if he was invited, but definitely
Shout out
rolled
to our boys at TMZ Sports.
Look at this fucking guy at the camera phone.
That
Oh,
looks
that's
like a lot
him
of fun.
leaving.
Oh, that's
I love Nate. Look
Listen,
at how famous
that's
he
the
is.
next fight for him, by the way. For Connor, and again, when you talked about entertainment, the biggest fight possible out there, besides maybe GSP for Connor, but the next biggest fight for him that makes the most sense, and the stakes can be any higher. They're 1-1. They're even. Now you fight at 55, which they both are better at, and you fight for the belt. And for Nate Diaz, it'd be the perfect ending to his entire career for you to win or even to get a shot at the belt. That's the
100%.
fight. And I hate to tell you, that's the only fight Nate's going to take, probably the only fight Connor's going to take. That's the next fight. To think it's Khabib or Ferguson, you're batshit crazy. I'll tell you this right now. Khabib and Ferguson are going to fight each other next. Mark my words, I bet those two fight each other next. Because Connor's not fighting either one of them. Nate's not fighting either one of them. They're both holding
gonna be
out,
a hell of
and
a
they want a
fight.
shitload of money.
I can't wait to
And
see
they're going to do it at 55, and it's probably going to happen in Vegas if Vegas gets their head out of their ass, or they do it next year in New York. I think they're coming back in November.
That's a purest dream. Khabib Ferguson. Oof.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah, that's an
Woo!
awesome fight.
Man.
Who do you got in that?
Khabib Ferguson?
Ferguson looks so fucking good
Probably
against those
Fergie Ferg.
inches. You got Fergie Ferg?
I think I'd take Fergie Ferg.
I got Khabib, and I just think it's impossible to stop him from grabbing a hold of you. When he does, I just never seen him not completely dominate somebody.
Remember, Ferguson,
I'm just-
Ferguson's a beast wrestler, too, and good
Yeah.
on the ground.
Sure is, but then there's
Different.
Khabib.
But striking, Ferguson's way better.
Man, he is. He'll just light you up, and he's long. Bop! Just hard to get in on.
Just every time I see that fight in my head, it ends in Tony darsing him.
Oh, wow.
Oh no.
Oh, wow.
No.
That's how I see it in my brain.
That's not a bad get because him shooting like that, that's
Yeah.
not a bad idea. The only
He's so long and he's so quick and he's so
he does
good
it in
at hitting that.
transitions. But Khabib was getting out of Darces from Grizzly Bears, you gotta remember.
Yeah.
That's a
Top
tough.
game,
That's such a
something.
tough fight to
Yeah.
break down.
Crazy.
They have one common opponent in RDA, and I think
The safe bet is that Khabib probably ragdolls him and Tony can't get him, but
Yeah.
I'm not a safe bet kind of guy.
it's a good fight, though, isn't it? No, I like your pick. I gotta wait for it to happen and watch more film on both.
I like the way you're talking.
Yeah, Nate Diaz. That's the next fight for Connor.
It's the only one I
If
wanna
it's
see.
Not Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, you don't want to see him fight Khabib and Tony. And I know that you guys are gonna jump off at me on Twitter and stuff like that. Khabib and Tony will fight way before, light years before Connor fights either one of them. That ain't happening. So stop talking about it. Stop breaking it down. That ain't happening.
Right.
It's just not. It doesn't make sense for anyone. Besides, could be even Tony.
Next event.
All right, last one we'll do just a little something funny that I saw pop up. Apparently, Fat Joe is playing bar mitzvah shows now.
Goddamn. Was he?
Oh, how the
cash?
mighty
He's
have
making a
fallen.
fortune, probably. That's what
You
he's
think
doing.
so?
I think that's somebody's
He's not
rich,
really a big
rich
name, is he?
dad. Somebody's rich dad gave him 40 grand or 50 grand or
Well, I
maybe
wouldn't
more.
say a fortune. Would you be 40 grand to
for
do
one night. Sing 4 songs.
I mean, but
The rapper made a surprise appearance in NYC Friday night for a boy named Casey, son of Ira Judelson, bail bondsman to the stars.
bail bondsman of the
Oh,
stars.
that guy looks
So-
terrible.
But even if you're doing 40, you'd have to do a shitload of those to make.
Please.
Dad looks like he's happier than with himself. He's upstaging his handsome young son there.
Is Dad in a tuxedo and the
Sure
kids
is.
dressed
He's a
regular?
Bills bond-
God
Bill.
damn it, Dad.
Oh boy, that guy.
And does he just sing the lean back and then get off stage? Lean back.
He stayed for almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this video is a
He
piece
got
of
paid
shit.
a lot.
You get the idea. All right. Well,
Okay,
that's
we got an Xbox commercial. Shout out to Xbox. Dude, I can't believe you didn't do a commercial or one of the tournaments. And you're too old for this, so you won't relate to it at all. But my generation, well, Super Nintendo released a new Super Nintendo and smaller, but it has like 50 games uploaded on it already. So you just set up your Super Nintendo, it has 50 games on it.
Gee whiz,
So it's an old.
that's amazing.
Every time counts as
That
G
sounds
Ways.
super
I laugh.
groovy.
No, it's dope.
So Super
There's-
Nintendo,
there-
I assume like it's all the old school classics, right? All the
You're
hits.
talking about Mario. You're talking about all the games. NBA Jam. All the classic Contra. All this dope shit, son. Mario Kart.
Let's see here.
They're sold out everywhere. Like you can't get them.
New tiny
Anywhere.
SNES classic.
You can't get them literally anywhere.
Wow.
I mean,
Can I take you to the doctor?
No.
Can I have a doctor sent to your house?
Yes, with heal.com.
Really? With Heal? No, not Heal.com. God damn it.
What is it called?
There's no Heal.com.
Oh, it's just Heal app.
It's an app.
Nope. I'm just gonna let it fester.
You know you have a problem though. We admit that.
Nope. I'm not gonna even do that. I'm in denial.
You think always clearing your throat?
I'm in 100% denial. I
And
haven't been clearing my
and
throat
for-
that much.
You always say that, but even
This
Jake,
podcast?
well, yeah, this podcast for you. You just did it over there. But even
I
Jake,
coughed a
even
little.
Jake goes, "Do you think Brian's getting sick?" And I'm like, "No, he's literally just like that all the time."
Yeah.
Has your wife said anything or no?
No, I've been good lately. I just got a cough again. Because I've been
But
traveling.
it's 24/7. though.
Traveling so much.
Well, it's not again if it's always around.
I'm sure it's fine.
I just wish
I'm
you
sure a
could get
chronic
checked out
cough
for
is
me,
totally
pal.
fine.
I just
Oof.
want- chronic.
Chronic cough
does
doesn't
it?
sound bad.
Is this it too? Did they keep the classic look?
I think so. I haven't seen him because
Hey, I don't give a fuck about this event though.
Yeah, Brian's too old.
Yeah, Cal,
I'm
this
bored.
was
I'm
this
already
was a
getting
big
super
part of our
bored.
childhood.
Well, I
That's
can
a
feel a
big
yawn
deal.
coming on.
This is a real big deal for us.
I don't play video games, but I'd get one of these.
Here comes another yawn.
It's fucking $60.
Yes, they can't
What?
keep them in stock. I don't know how we're gonna
Get
get
outta
one.
here. That's a-
hey,
we
if
need
you
one
work
in
at
here.
Target and you're a Fire Kid listener, let's make a deal to get me one. Let's
100%.
make a
We
deal.
need. Make it 2 because we need one for the studio.
That would be dope. Is
Sorry,
that,
that's an
well,
aggressive
that's
yawn.
a yell.
Nope, it's a yawn. It's an aggressive yawn. Man, a well-placed yawn can be so rude. You ever been talking to somebody and they just...
No, I know. It's like, well, all right. Yeah, I know. Right
My
in your
friend's
face.
wife did that one to me. I didn't like her
My
anyway.
dad does it loud. It's
So
so annoying. My dad would do it, you know, where they go, ah! It's like, God damn, why are you yelling?
I know.
There's nothing more annoying.
Ah! My sister does that. She goes... Ah!
That drives me
I'm going to
nuts.
bed. I'm like, oh, fuck off with your
Yeah.
announcement.
You got Droppin Knowledge?
Yep. And you've heard this before because I
This
want
be the same one?
Yeah, but I did it live.
So you didn't come
I did
prepared.
it live. No, I did it live. I haven't done it for everybody. West Palm Beach can't just have it. It's you know what I'm going to say. You know the one. After reading 1 billion wicked thoughts by the
you finish it?
the 2 neuroscientists, one from Harvard, the other from Boston University, who looked at all the data, the porn data on the internet. I'm talking about like 1 billion different bits. And they've isolated kind of like sort of how men and women really behave, what they truly desire when nobody is watching. That's what's kind of fun and interesting about the book. Do you know that the average man's penis is 5.99 inches, according to all
6
the data?
inches, basically?
6 inches, my friend.
it up.
We dwarf them. Hey,
What's
Brennan,
up?
Hey, Brennan, let's fold our dicks in half and shatter that fucking record. Huh?
You talking about folding into like a sandwich?
I'm talking about folding it one
I
end
call
over.
I call
I'm talking
I call it
end to
snaking
base.
it.
I'm
I call
talking,
it
yeah.
I call it centipeding.
I'm
it.
talking the hood of my dong, the head of my dick kind of says hello to my balls. You know what I mean? I bend it over, and he's like, "Hi, balls."
Oh.
I mush his
Oh, I
head
know what
in
you're
my
talking
balls.
about.
Yeah.
In yoga, we call that the downward dog.
There you go.
You're talking about downward dog in your shaft.
I'm talking about folding them in half, and I'm still dwarfing the 599. Now, it's not the point. The point is this: do you know that the average gay penis, and this is according to these scientists and their data, don't fucking shoot the messenger, the average gay penis is a half-inch longer.
Are we talking worldwide or U.S. numbers here?
Apparently, we're talking worldwide. Now, that's according to the two neuroscientists who are pretty thorough scientists. Now, they looked at all the because, by the way, also in the gay porn sites, dick size means everything. When it comes to
It's
women,
life.
if you look at women and what they read, the erotic porn that they read, the erotic what are they? The rom-com, the not the erotic, but the books. The romantic books like the Harlequin romances and stuff that are full of sex.
Are those still popular?
100%.
Billion-dollar industry.
It's a
Still?
bigger industry actually than the
God,
porn
we need to
industry.
write a Fire and Kid one.
Fiction,
Fire and
like
Kid erotic novel?
erotic fiction. Now you have people writing their own fiction.
Bro, I get
Someone
Women-
wrote a Rob Gronkowski erotica novel,
And it went well,
killed
right?
it. Yeah.
Dude, Fire and Kid romantic novel.
Oh, you and
we
me.
cover all bases. You got the young strapping stud here.
You got
the
daddy,
old
old pervy
weather
daddy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they describe you like just crooked city
One
skyline,
guy's made,
yellow teeth.
One guy's made of muscle, the other guy's made of cartilage.
But you dick them down.
I dick him down.
Like,
let me pop these Viagra like Tic Tac.
But then we do like mommy clubs. Like we go to like local neighborhoods, and they're like, I'm telling you, that Brian Callen will surprise you.
Oh, yeah, he'll
Brendan,
surprise
those the big one's lazy. He'll just sit there and ask you to do
The big
things.
one makes you do the work.
But the older yellow teeth one, he's the grateful type.
He's got yellow teeth.
He'll go for days.
Super old, and he smells like
super
tea
old.
bags.
Got a dick
But I'll
on
tell you
him.
what, he's got a dick on him.
And if you ice his balls, you can use them. They'll get rid of the bags on your eyes because you can just place the balls over your eyes.
They're so long and
'Cause they're
hanging.
so big and hanging.
Because they reach low.
Yeah.
Because they reach low.
Yeah, if you need to sleep, just have them teabag you.
If you don't mind reaching low balls, if you don't mind a saggy scrotum, but he's got a heavy pocketbook and a positive attitude, he'll dick you down.
He'll dick you down.
Won't be all the way hard. What with all the
The young
Propecia
one,
he takes,
the young one, he looks good, but he's lemon.
Super-
He looks the part. He a lemon.
just lays
He's
on top of
lazy.
you like a big old
He's
slab
lazy.
of meat.
He doesn't want to be there. He complains all the time.
Yep.
Probably gonna be on his phone.
Yep, he'll be
And
on
then
his
he picks
phone.
out just the hot one and runs away with her. But the old one, he puts on a show for us.
The big one will text while he's banging you. The old one will talk dirty in your ear.
The old one, and he is creative.
He says sexy shit like, "I'll pay your bills."
Which
Don't
doesn't
tell-
make sense because
don't-
we're older.
Don't tell my wife. Call me daddy.
He
all
says
kinds
stuff
of
like we're
sexy
really
stuff.
young, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So he'll say stuff like, "We should go on a picnic, and you make an egg salad."
Yeah, and he says stuff like, "Oh, my hip hurts." Oh, he's hot. Yeah, in erotic romance that's written by women, they never mention the size of the penis. They do mention blood flow. They mention blood flow a lot and temperature.
That's the popular thing,
and
right? Blood?
Throbbing. Yeah. And here's the final stat that I wanted to give you guys. The number one attractive trait in a woman that spans every culture in the world, every culture, is hip to waist
flat ass.
ratio.
A flat ass.
Hip to waist ratio. Women who are if their waist is 70% what their waist is, so if their waist, is 70% what their hips are, that is not only universally desirable among men across all cultures, but even congenitally blind men who have never been able to see, when they ask them to touch mannequins, they prefer that ratio. Go figure that shit out. There are certain things about beauty that
It's
men
just
are
in our
simply
genes.
drawn to. It ain't a myth.
If you got a
it's
flat
not
ass-
socialization. It's not the fashion industry. There's certain, and men prefer a little weight on a woman. They prefer weight.
no one likes a real
They
skinny
don't
girl.
like. They'd rather have weight than skinny. Some men do like skinny. The average porn star is actually skinnier body mass index than the average
Interesting.
woman. The average European porn star is actually skinnier than the average
It's
American
a
porn star.
fine line between Honey Boo Boo and Paris Hilton. Be somewhere between
That's
the
right.
two of those.
That's right. Men don't mind a little weight. They don't mind a little older. They don't mind a little weight. Makes sense. 'Cause
Little
you were
gut,
raised by your
a
mom.
little gut, but a nice ass. I'll take it.
Can't abide
Flat
by
ass.
a gut. Can't abide by a gut. Can't abide by tummy fat. This is my one thing. It's where I draw the line.
Deal breaker?
Sorry.
What about the old turkey gobbler on the chin hair?
I got a little issue with that.
You don't. I'm saying, what about
No,
for
I'm
girls?
saying I got a little issue with that
okay.
too. I can look past it though. Just focus on the eyes. Know what I mean?
Good one, B.
Thanks,
Those were interesting. Those
Not
were
bad.
fun dropping knowledge.
Not
For
bad,
sure,
buddy.
get more
Not
of
bad.
those.
Yep.
Let's do some fan questions.
Fan
Fan questions. All that meat got me hungry for questions.
I'm hungry. Give me some questions.
Give me that damn zebra.
Give me
All right,
some-
what do you
give me
got?
some
Ev?
meaty. Make the questions meaty.
That emo better be moist
It better be moist.
and better have a positive attitude.
All
with
right,
antibiotics.
first question we got. Well, we covered Misha Tate already, so that one's out of the way. I read an article about Bryan getting his own spin-off series from the Goldbergs. Is there truth to this, and how would it affect the show?
It won't affect the show, but there is truth to it. I'm doing a spin-off. That just means I'm shooting a pilot. I'm very excited and honored. But just understand one thing. This podcast will always go on. I am not... I've always built it into my contract. I'm doing it as we speak because I'm doing 2 TV shows, Kingdom and the Goldbergs. It's a lot. And I've said, look, I need to be here on Mondays and Wednesdays to do the Fighter and the Kid podcast.
Boom, boom, boom.
It's very
And it's
important
a
to me.
pilot, so you still have a ways to go, right? That's why you
Yeah.
don't get too excited about it.
Yeah.
But definitely a step in the right direction.
It's exciting. It's flattering. It's nice to be wanted. It's nice to feel like I've finally got my own show.
What else you got, Ev?
Next question. Who's the new chick, and is she as hot as Kay? Hopefully she gets used to the dick pics.
Well, that's super aggressive, sir.
It sure is.
Jesus
Well,
Christ.
cyber rapist, listen, we don't have a new chick yet.
Cyber, we kind of have a new chick right now.
Michaela.
With Michaela filling in. So Michaela came to us. She's an employee of Fox, correct?
Yes.
Employee of Fox, and your title here is what exactly?
Production coordinator.
There you go.
Production coordinator. So they brought you in to help out with the YouTube videos to mark like the times, right? Like what to highlight and stuff. And then she just happens to be a beast with everything. So I've been in Keeley, who started first day today. Shout out to Special K. Hopefully your work is going great, Trader. But and you didn't quit. You got fired, is what I'm telling everyone. So
You're telling her
I'm
about
telling
that.
everyone that.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Love Keeley. Miss you. So we've been interviewing people. We haven't found someone yet. I have interviews set up all this week. But in the meantime, Michaela's been holding the fort down. She's doing a great job. So who knows what'll come from it.
Darn
but
right.
She's a little beast.
Yep.
And don't send her dick pics.
Yes, she's very pretty, but do not send her anything like that. Or
Yeah,
beat
Brian's
you.
going to scrunch
I'll
his
show up at your
teeth like
door.
that. What else you got, Ev? Last one.
All right. Nate Diaz and Floyd Mayweather aside, because those are just Scrooge McDuck fights. Who would you like to see Conor fight next? I'm asking just pure matchup. Who's the guy you want to see across from Conor?
kinda covered
We
that.
talked about wanting to see him maybe fight Khabib and Ferguson, but it not being realistic because it's just not going to
Makes no
happen.
sense,
Makes
yeah.
no sense. So who, just from a fuck it standpoint, anyone out there, is Nate Diaz that guy still?
Tyron Woodley.
Like realistically, what would be next for him if you take out Nate and you take out Floyd? It'd have to be Tony Ferguson or Khabib, and that's on the UFC to decide who would deserve that matchup. And that's tough because I'm glad it's not my job because both are deserving. Tony's been more active. Khabib absolutely murks everybody, but he's been out, so it's tough.
Yeah.
Again, I'm glad it's not my job.
Brian?
I mean, just to see him have 3 belts, it's just such a fantasy. Tyron
So
Woodley.
Woodley, that's
T
fair.
Wood?
You know,
I'm going to throw
Yeah,
a little.
What about GSP?
I'd also be very worried. For
What about GSP?
Too big, too much for Conor. Just too big, too strong.
I just think so too. I got nothing now. The guy can do it all.
Yeah.
More than GSP? I want to see him fight Nick Diaz.
He's too big.
Nick is too big as well.
Can Nick make 70? Nick can make 70.
But he'd be a huge.
He
70.
is.
Nick
He
is
is.
That's
big.
just
And
too
this is-
much.
I
I
don't
don't
give
want
a
to see that.
I don't either.
I don't give a
Nick
shit
is-
about matchups.
Yeah, you just want to see the freak show.
Yeah, give me that's a great freak show.
It's
Give me
just-
Nick
it's
Diaz.
Just it's significant. It's a different weight class, different frame.
It's just
I
too
don't see-
much.
Yeah.
Oh, and Tyron's not.
Tyron is shorter, and Tyron is
A lot
the
more
same
muscular.
height, yeah, but it's a different thing, man.
So you're going just based off height?
I'm going off reach, height. I'm going off.
And
just
is Nick not much bigger than Nate?
Nick,
No.
Nick and,
He's
what's
really
that?
not.
No.
Yeah,
He
actually
he fights a weight class
Remember,
up.
Nick fights very comfortably at 85. I'm not saying that Nate, but Nate makes 55. It's hard for
Nate's
him.
a big guy though.
Nate's a big guy. Nate's a tall guy. Nate's never been as thick as Nick. Nick is thicker.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Both are
I
tough
don't like
fights.
talking about it because it takes away from both of them. I don't know. Just too big. Anyway.
I don't know. He might murk both of them. I can't count him out for anything. I've stopped doing that after that
Yeah.
Eddie Alvarez
Yeah, that's
thing.
fair.
That's it, man.
There it is.
Go see Bryan Callen, Oxnard.
No,
sorry.
Ontario, California.
Sorry, very
I am
similar.
there this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm very
Sunday
excited. I
show.
love the Inland Empire. You guys show up
They are
in
the
force.
best.
I love those crowds. You and I perform there. And
I will not be there.
I love it. I love the Inland Empire. You
But
guys
go see Bryan
they show
Callen,
up and they're
the kid,
strong.
one of the best in the world. And then this Thursday, I am at the Laugh Factory.
Yes.
Surprisingly, I used to sell a lot of tickets, so get them while you can.
Excited.
I think just go to
have to come by and
laughfactory.com
say
and
hi
have
to
the tickets. So I'll be at the Laugh Factory this Thursday in Los Angeles, California, doing the solo thing. I think that's it. There's a new workout video up for All in the Day's Work, Shop Life on the YouTube channel. Go see Bryan in Ontario, and we love you guys. This is the Finally Kid. We out.